Excited to be here for another Thursday night, and we're gonna have another real talk. Could Bill Cosby be innocent? Looks like a lot of the world thinks so, a lot of the world doesn't. Let's have a real conversation. We got Cosby's supporter advocate Shakaama is in the building. So happy to have him, honored to have him. He's done some amazing videos on this topic. We're gonna go there. Let's have some conversations, keep it civil. So excited to see you guys in the chat room. Get ready. We'll be live with you in 4 minutes. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore, and so happy to be here Thursday live with you all. We're live every Tuesday, Thursday, 9 p.m., and we're not afraid of some Real talk, and tonight's going to be some serious real talk. Because look, I'll be honest, I'm putting all my cards on the table. When I heard that Bill Cosby was out, I thought, what? Wait, what? And I really went down a wormhole trying to figure out how this happened. What did I miss? I didn't really pay attention to this story. I really just listened to the media. It's always the problem. And I wanted to figure out what really was going on in this story. As someone who was put through the ringer himself, false accusations and the media trying to say what they wanted about me, I would be a complete hypocrite if I didn't hear all sides in this. But I'll be honest, I had a bias to think I didn't believe Cosby. And I still wonder if I do. But tonight we're going to get into the topic of could he be innocent? And I went and I found people out there, experts who were out there defending Bill Cosby, who were making material, content, and pieces about him. And I found someone on YouTube who put together some really great video content who was very adamant on Bill Cosby's innocence. So I brought him onto the show. I'm so happy to have him here. Shakaama, are you there, sir? Welcome to the stream. How you doing, man?
Hello.
Nice to have you here. This is going to be a fun chat. So Shakaama has a YouTube channel, guys. There it is. And he has been an advocate on this topic and on Bill Cosby for through this whole trial for years now. And so I thought if we're going to have this discussion, I want someone who knows what they're talking about, who's been following the case and has reported his feelings and his strong feelings on why Bill Cosby is innocent. And so we're going to have that conversation. I want to start the show with Shakaama. I know Vito wants to come in. Vito thinks Bill Cosby's crazy, guilty. Some other people may have opinions. You guys can get them involved in the show by using the Streamlabs link. Mods, if you can send out a Streamlabs link, I will pin it. So there you go. Will Morris already did it. Ask your questions, and I will make sure they get incorporated into the show live here with Shakaama, and we'll address all the topics, questions, concerns. So, look, Shakaama, I'm so glad you're here. I want to have this conversation because, like I said, full disclosure, I still don't know what to believe. As I think where a lot of people are stuck, and where I sense things are. If we start here, sort of with what happened. With the overturn, and I'm going to have Shakaama, he'll explain more of his background, law student, etc., to give you more of where he's coming from. But I just wanted to look here first on. Hold on, there we go. Freed from prison, his conviction overturned, and from everything I've sort of been reading about this, the reason this happened primarily is because he was given a plea deal saying that he would not be tried if he did a deposition. Is really what this came down to. And so at the end of the day, he did that deposition, and then a new DA came in, turned around, and used the deposition to convict him. And the court called Cosby's sexual arrest in the front of fundamental fairness, particularly when it comes, hold on, where's the piece? Anyway, there's a lot there was a lot, but Shakaama, maybe you can help clear this up too. The district attorney, the new district attorney, basically went against the deal that was apparently made with Cosby and used that and evidence, and then old testimonies and old witnesses that were not really allowed to testify any further, and sort of used all that to, in theory, book him into a corner that he agreed to. They only did because he thought they weren't going to get him on, as well as sort of taint the jury that was deadlocked previously, and sort of using other instances to sort of try to justify why this this case in question could have happened. And that's really what happened here. The Supreme Court basically overruled this decision because it was unfair. They realized this wasn't a fair trial. What happened to him wasn't fair. He made a deal with the district attorney. The district attorney basically changed his deal and said, screw you, I'm going to use this against you now. I tricked you. And ultimately, in the eyes of the law, that wasn't right. Is that fair to sort of sum up why he is out, and regardless of what we feel about Bill Cosby, all the other allegations? I want to just focus on that first. Is that a fair summary of sort of the real legal technicality of why he is out?
Yeah. So the reason that the court based their opinion on rescinding or vacating the entire trial was that he did, in fact, have a deal with the former district attorney. Now, let me first say that the reason that he had a deal with the first district attorney is because the first district attorney knew that there wasn't a case. And if you completely take out the deposition that he had with the police, saying that all of the stuff about the Quaaludes, there was no case. That's why the first case, the first trial, the jury was deadlocked because there was like half of them did not feel, the jury, half of them didn't feel like they heard anything to even convict Cosby, and that's why it was a deadlocked trial. And so then they retried it against all legal opinions across the land, and then you have the kangaroo court come, and they threw out the plea deal that Cosby had to give his deposition against any good lawyer's advice.
Right.
And then they asked him certain things. I'll get into that later if you want me to.
Yeah. I want to. So I want to focus on that first, so we don't get too bogged down, because there's a lot. I have a lot of opinions on this. I was just putting out the link. If you guys have comments or questions there, I just pinned it. If anybody wants to get involved, that's how you can ask your questions. There's a lot of chat here.
District attorneys want to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's their whole raison d'être, right? They want to win. So this district attorney looked at the stuff that the woman was saying and say, there's no case here. But, and Pennsylvania does not like Cosby, point blank. Here's the deal, Cosby. If you answer all the questions truthfully and honestly, I will make you a deal that I will never prosecute you criminally. And that's the deal that he made.
So why would a DA? I mean, you're right. A DA wouldn't make that deal because they want to win, and so then they can't win because they can't prosecute. But what do you think what was the goal of the DA then in making such a deal? Why would the DA make what was the point in getting the deposition?
So the former DA did not like Cosby. He thought he was a douchebag and a what bag and a who's a bag, and he said, "I want to give this woman some money." Literally, that's what he said. And he said, okay, lady, you don't have a case here, but tell you what, I'll make you a deal so you can get some money. And so they had a civil trial, and his confession with the deposition with the police came out, and she won the civil trial, and she won something like $200 million, which she went through, and then we come to the brand new criminal trial with the new DA.
So, all right. So in this case, though, the DA makes that deal, and because he makes that deal, the Supreme Court realizes, and this deal wasn't written, mind you. This was an oral deal. There's no proof.
That is not a thing in court. You do not have to have anything in writing. Handshake. All you have to have is a meeting of the mind. I'm a third-year law school student. All you have to have is a meeting of the minds. You have the former district attorney say, I made a deal. You have Cosby who said, I made a deal. That's it.
And they both admitted, they did both admit they made this deal.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter if it's right. If the district attorney and Cosby are admitting it, then yeah, that seems like, all right, well, we agreed, we made a deal.
Right. So the new district attorney literally has no grounds to stand on as far as what he pushed forward was, it wasn't in writing. I don't have it in documentation in our offices. So I'm going to go forward with this and open up. It was sealed. That was the whole point of it. It was sealed. I'm going to go ahead and unseal it. And the judge unsealed it, which is another point of corruption, and said, yes, let's unseal this and get his deposition, which he gave without using his Fifth Amendment.
Okay, so that regardless of what we think, because I see there's already discourse, let's try to be civil in the chat. Regardless of whether we think Bill Cosby, innocent, guilty, did the crimes, I'm going to tackle that next. I want to focus on why he's out. The reality is that's why he's out. There's a lot more we're going to discuss and get into the details, but in this specific case, which was against that one woman, right? So it's the one woman who came forward. Ultimately, whether it happened or not, and I know you have feelings on whether it happened or not, the reality was he made a deal, the district attorney made that deal, and then they went against the deal and used the stuff that in the agreement against him. So at the end of the day, That's fair because, right or wrong, they shouldn't have made the deal in the first place if they wanted to prosecute him, and they did. And so once you make a deal in a court of law, that should be the word of the law. So you can be frustrated, you can not believe it, whatever you want. At the end of the day, it's important we sort of get out that's what happened. Now, moving on to the next issue of Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby is declaring his innocence and has been declaring his innocence since the beginning. In fact, he refused to get out, to do any of the sort of steps to sort of take a class or do anything because he refused to acknowledge any wrongdoing. And he said that when he came out, that was sort of the first thing. He's like, I'm proud of the fact that I've never gave in. I didn't do any of this stuff, especially towards this woman. And so I think, in the reality of maybe he didn't do it to this woman. I could see that argument. I still have a bigger question of all the other women, all the other stuff he revealed in his deposition. I want to go there first, Shakaama. As a man, Bill Cosby, do you understand why people might be angry, regardless of whether, okay, fine, the law let him out. It was an unfair trial. Do you understand why people don't like this man and think he's guilty, given some of the things he's admitted to, behaviors, etc., and the multitude of women that have come forward? I want to get into that part of the conversation. What is your opinion on that?
Okay, what's your first question for me?
So what I guess the first question. Thank you. Let's go one by one. Let's talk about why. Let's talk about, before we get in the deposition. Let's talk about the amount of women, because a lot of women came forward. So do you believe all of them are lying? Do you believe?
Yes.
Okay. So how do you come to that discussion? How do you come to that?
And you want to know why?
Yes.
Okay. So I did not conduct interviews myself, but there are people on YouTube who conducted interviews with the actual women, and they went through each woman piece by piece, 2 hours at a time.
Okay.
And they completely destroyed them. First of all, let's look at the big. So, is it 50 or 60? I can't remember if it's 50 or 60. Over half of them said nothing actually happened. Nothing happened. New York Times or Times Magazine came to us and said, "Would you come do a photo shoot?" And we said, "Yeah, sure. Let's go do a photo shoot." 50% said nothing happened. Absolutely nothing. He didn't. I don't know what you can say on your channel. What words can you use on your channel?
I don't care, but YouTube sucks, and then they delimit our videos. So try to speak in DV is what I guess let's call it AB for abuse. So we don't have to keep saying it over and over again. The type of that type of claim, the extreme claim, right? None of those women claim that.
Right. So 50% said our word never happened. That's not my deal at all. One lady even said, my claim is that he walked past me in a Playboy Mansion party. Walked past her and brushed up against her. I don't know if you've ever been to the Playboy Mansion, but it's usually crowded. The idea that somebody's complaining that somebody brushed up against them in a ridiculous. Okay, so 50% right off the top, gone. The next 30 are completely provable that nothing happened. And then there's another slice, I believe about 5 of them, where they made accusations. And Cosby wasn't even in the city nor the state. Like the one woman who said she claimed that he did something to her in the Playboy Mansion. They literally, Hugh Hefner, literally said, no, that's impossible. That would have made you something like 14 years old or something like that. And I do not tolerate anybody under the age of 18. We have double check and triple check, and he has several layers of security before you even get to the door. He says it's impossible. And when they looked at it, what did I just do?
You're there. I hear you.
When they looked at it, Cosby wasn't there that entire summer. And then they went through the other women. Some of the women were drug addicts. Some of the women were prostitutes. Some of the women had a reason to lie. Some of them had been trying to peddle, shop their story of them and Cosby to the rag magazines, who all refused them. Rag magazines print up alien stories. Rag magazines print up goat babies. So for them to refuse these women, all of smacks, just smack. Anyway, the person went, several of the YouTubers went through and personally interviewed all the women. And it's here on YouTube if it's still available.
Yeah, I can't. It's so interesting, and if that's the case, then that's very eye-opening, and I want to look into that. We should do it. If you find the video or something, let us know. I'll link it in the description. So you got. But do your homework, everybody. Go look it up. Again, if that's true, well then
even
that's...
ABC interviewed some of the women, and is it Leslie Stahl? I forget the one lady, but she was talking to the lady, and the lady said, "Well, nothing really," and she was mad that she was interviewing this woman who literally had no story. But she was accusing Cosby, and she's a part of the 60 women. Cosby's a billionaire, or close to it.
Right.
Donald Trump has 200 accusations every month. 200 brand new, his lawyer said he has 200 brand new accusations every month. Trump doesn't meet 200 new people every month. So it is an impossibility. And we have, what's the guy who says knowledge? He does little advertisements with his Lamborghini or whatever. He says once he made $10 million, he had accusations coming out of the woodwork. Gloria Allred demanded $100 million from Cosby right off the top. I've looked at this world. This world is filled with that. It's filled with greed. So do I believe 60 women came and accused Cosby? Sure. Do I believe they were truthful? No.
Right, and I guess the other issue for a lot of people is just like, well, you know, we need to know what the facts are, and a lot of comments are echoing what Shakaama is saying here of just like, yeah, there was a lot of these women who weren't proved they weren't in the country, etc. I do believe some of those women absolutely were coming in for fame, attention. That happens a lot. It happened to me. Like, I get it. So all right, so
the biggest names I looked at myself, and if you can see my video in my playlist of the Cosby stuff. I don't want to get the wrong person, but the black supermodel claimed that Cosby had done something to her. Her friend, her manager, her
ExpressVPN
cake speech that he's famous for giving that supposedly black people were against,
I was looking for
which is not true. It's a very specific type of black person who would be against a black person.
Oh, there it goes. Sorry, that was me. That was my fault. Sorry, I had the video playing. Go ahead.
It's Beverly Johnson. Beverly Johnson, who is a pioneer as a black woman in modeling, which she started modeling when there was no such thing as a black woman modeling, said that Cosby did something to her. Her friend, her manager, her publicist, all came out and said, "What? You've never said anything." And then, lo and behold, she's coming out with a book talking about her and Cosby.
Well, so here's my problem, and I see other people echoing it. Like, I believe some of those women were shady and not telling the truth? Absolutely, but 60 women, man. You 60, whatever. Let's say 50, 60 women. That's a lot of women to come forward. You don't believe that there was some inappropriateness to a degree that might have warranted Bill Cosby, not being a good dude. I guess the reality is, if we really want to focus on, like, well, did he R-word it, every one of those women? Okay, maybe not. But even in my situation, which I don't know if you know my story, I was accused of that too, and I proved it false. I was canceled right after Harvey Weinstein, and I was able to drop the text eventually after I, settled with my company for a wrongful termination, and all that stuff. I went through, and then I finally dropped the receipts to prove you're lying, because this didn't happen. So look, I know I would be a hypocrite to not say I need to give the benefit of the doubt and to sort of understand the story. So I'm not saying, yes or no either way, but I have trouble when I hear 60 women coming forward all saying of these extreme things. And not only that, but then we have a lot of really famous people and other people out there saying, I know women who haven't spoken forward, Bill Cosby's a monster, blah, blah, blah. And then you go through his own deposition where and it's like, just now let's move on to that part because I don't want to, clearly your opinion is there and I'm not going to challenge you on it. You're allowed to have your opinion, but he in his own deposition admitted, yeah, I got drugs a lot. Fame helped me seduce the women. He goes through. He doesn't ever admit, obviously, to our wording, everybody, but he goes in. And this deposition reads freaking creepy.
I have the actual documents.
Yeah, well,
for that.
So I want your response to it, but it's like there's just when you read through it, it's like sure maybe he didn't, R word these people, but it's clear. These women are taken. These women want to be famous. Let's be fair. A lot of these women know he's married, too, which is not a good look in the first place, right? And they're all there drinking cognac with him, and stuff. Not a good look. What do you expect? I think we gotta start teaching women at a young age. Don't go show up to rich guy's house and start drinking with them with married guys while their wife's out. That's just not a good look. You gotta be more careful if you don't want anything, flirty or remotely sexual to happen. Probably just don't go to the old man's house. I think is a thing we really need. I think to ingrain more to people. So, but that all said, you read some of this stuff and it's like he's really creepy, man. He's just very dominant sexually and about it and not telling his wife about it. And as someone who did that, it's hard for me. Yeah, I gave Benadryl to relieve her stress. We kissed. She believed, blah, blah, blah. Wait, this is all in his own words now that it's out. And maybe he shouldn't have been put in jail. But when you go through any of this, what is your response to sort of just the feeling of just like, this was Cliff Huxtable. Like, this is not what I expected.
I haven't read this article, but I did have the deposition and looked at the deposition. And let me actually give you the real deposition. The real deposition is what they could use in court, not an article. Asked, have you ever bought Quaaludes? Answer, yes. Have you ever bought Quaaludes with the intention of getting with women? Yes. But she requested it. Part 2 of that is they have the woman that they're talking about. And we're talking about the 60s. This is a black man and a white woman.
And he says, just to be clear, the article says I give young women, but never without their knowledge. Yes, this article does acknowledge that too. Continue.
They went to the woman and said, did you request for him to buy Quaaludes? Yes. Cosby was the hookup. Cosby was a man. Cosby was a party life. I'm friends with him to this day. She's now 70 or whatever. And not to cast aspersions about her, she was in poverty, and her mom said, well, Cosby, he always tries to help people. Why don't you go ask him for money? And she did, and he gave her money because that's what Cosby does. He has that personality. He's not a Weinstein. He's a Cosby. He's the 5th Rat Pack person. He used to hang with the Rat Pack.
Mm-hmm.
And he was I just spoke to somebody who's much older than we are, and they said Cosby had Quaaludes, still a stash of Quaaludes in the 80s. He says, do you know he would be the guy to have Quaaludes still in the 80s? It was banned or completely stopped manufacturing at the end of the 60s, early 70s. So Quaaludes do not put you to sleep. They're a party drug. They keep you awake. And this is why it was banned.
My experience is only from Wolf of Wall Street with Jonah Hill and Leonardo DiCaprio when you can't get in the Lamborghini. That's the experience I have of Quaaludes. It knocks you down like crazy. But you're clearly paying attention, but you can't really move your body and do things if you go as extreme with it. At least that's what happened in Wolf of Wall Street.
I was also told that Quaaludes affect men like 10 times more than it affects women. So it's a party drug, or it was a party drug, and now the party drugs keep you awake and don't do anything else. Quaaludes was almost like full spectrum drug. I know I had to look this up for the video. And you're supposed to take the Quaaludes and stay up all night and party. We're talking about a time when people went to work 9 to 5, 5 days a week. On the weekends, they wanted to party, and that was it.
So what do you think? So like I get what you're saying, but like so here's a portion. I'm giving the New York Times benefit that they took these accurately from the deposition. I feel like Cosby would have sued them if they didn't. But whatever. But here's one where he's like, this portrayed the drug and sex as consensual. Mr. Cosby, when asked whether Miss Signore was in a position to consent after he gave her Quaaludes in 1976, he said, "I don't know." There's just like little things like this throughout that it's like, okay, look, I get it.
We're looking at this with 2021 eyes.
Well, I mean, dude, consent happened. I mean, I don't need a decade to tell me when consent's okay. Like, consent needs to be okay in any era.
It was fully expected at one time to smack women on the butt as they walked by.
Well, I mean, we allowed it. Women sort of had to do it at the time, but that doesn't give you permission to.
We're
have
living in a
intercourse
time
with
now
them.
where we can say, "Hey, that's not okay," but at that time, we didn't care. Nobody cared.
Well,
and the women
I
knew what
agree.
to expect.
We've gone too far on the spectrum. I don't get me wrong. Like the scale is tipped way too far the other way in a safety world that we live in of safe spaces. And don't get me wrong. However, I still believe consent should always be given, no matter what the decade was. And at the end of the day, if a woman can't give consent because she's on Quaaludes, and Cosby knows this, and he's like, I don't know, yeah, it's cool, it's just not a good look. Now,
he's on Quaaludes too. They're both taking Quaaludes. It's not a one.
Well, I mean, I wasn't. Were you there? I wasn't there. All I know is it doesn't look good, is what I'm saying. So what I'm getting at is like, I hear you. I'm not trying to disagree with, but it's like I can see why people like don't like this guy. Like when you read this stuff and you look about it, this is Cliff Huxtable. We don't expect him to be doing Quaaludes with all these drunk girls. Now, I hear you. 70s, 60s, it was a different time. We're not trying to justify it, but it was what people did. And he was rewarded and during that period, right? He was getting more money, and his agents and everybody was ignoring it. I don't want to ignore that either. People were encouraging the behavior and allowing the behavior, and women were wanting to be part of that behavior at the time. Totally, I understand that point. I guess what I'm just trying to say was when you read the deposition, the amount of women coming forward, that's what I just sort of, it's troubling for me because I'm like, man, that's a lot of stuff I'm supposed to just be like, yeah, don't believe any of them. They're all lying. And I just think look, it could be true. I just worry it's dangerous, is what I'm at. But go ahead, what were we going to
say? Here's the thing, and here's a complete difference, right? And the reason that I believe he's innocent is because the difference between him and Weinstein is the people, and I don't care what you think about Weinstein, he made contracts with women and they knew full well what was going on.
Agreed. Everyone in Hollywood knew it. They allowed it. It was messed up. Totally.
People who went to Cosby wanted to be with Cosby. They wanted to party with Cosby. They didn't want anything there was people who wanted money. But you could literally walk up to Cosby and say, hey, could you give me $100,000? And Cosby is very likely to say, sure. You cannot do that to Weinstein. You cannot do that to Al Pacino. What's the guy? The guy who was overseas? You couldn't do that to them. People wanted to be with Cosby because he was the party guy. He was good looking. Yeah, he was married. And I think there's something there. And no, Constance and what's her name came over to his house and she was there. The wife was there. So I do not believe that they're doing something behind her back. I think that they have an understanding and there's something there that we don't know about.
The wife, but the wife divorced him, right? That did.
No, she's there.
I thought she did finally divorce him. Didn't he just get divorced?
No.
Oh, okay, maybe I got that incorrect.
No, absolutely not. She's been in his corner the whole time.
What? Really? I mean, I guess you know this better. What's the divorce they keep talking about?
Who?
Hold on. Okay, yeah, no, Camille, you're right. Camille is there. I read about the divorce.
She has been in his point. There is no woman, not even in the Bible, who's been as faithful.
So that was
as this
all
woman.
bullshit media stuff that tricked me again. Okay, yeah, no, Camille's there. Reunites with Camille back in the day. Camille, okay, so and Camille knew about all the cheating, and it clearly was batting a blind eye and didn't care. In which case, that it's not my business.
I think there's something that we don't know about their marriage.
I agreed, and you know what? None of my fucking business.
Right. And that's what I've been saying from the beginning. Everybody's like, well, he should be doing that to his wife, which is the basis of their hatred towards him. I'm like, that's none of our business. They might have, I know people who do all sorts of, have a revolving door installed on their bedroom with people coming in and out, but they're married. That's their business.
Yeah, and again, that's none of my business. Jody, Vito, I'm happy to have you both in. If I see Vito in the waiting room, I want to get them involved. I know Jody is Team Cosby. Vito is not Team Cosby, so that way nobody's ganging up on anybody. That'd be more interesting. But Jody, feel free to come in. And Jody was talking about, just so I'm clear to Jody and others, consent is important only because I was speaking about the specific quote I was calling out in the deposition, which was they were asking him, well, can a woman did the specific woman, could she even give you consent if she's under, Quaaludes? And, and he's like, I don't know. And to me, that's problematic. It's like, well, then, don't do it. Now, that's all I was saying. Like, of course, drugs and alcohol and sex was a big thing back then. Of course, that's what the style was. All I'm just saying is consent should always be a thing. 70s, 80s, whatever it was. We should ensure both parties, male and female, have given consent. And what we're saying is all I was trying to get at. But
my big point about that was that it was the woman who requested the Quaaludes. Right. It was always the woman that requested.
Because they're like, I want some Quaaludes. I want to have the party. Right. I'm imagining what happens.
So are we then going to say, oh, little 3-year-old, you shouldn't go around requesting the Quaaludes because you don't know what will happen if you take Quaaludes. They knew full well. So consent, as far as in that sort of marketplace goes, you can't. Women have this dichotomy of, oh, I want to appear to be a Vestal Virgin, but on the other hand, I want to party and I want to do my stuff, but I want to be able to go to church on Sunday. They request Quaaludes. They can't then turn around, a year later and go, oh, I never agreed to that, which has happened a lot in the Me Too stuff.
I want to go to the Felicia Rashad thing because what's interesting is she was one who did step up and defended him. And she went out and said, finally, a terrible wrong is being righted. A miscarriage of justice is corrected. She got a lot of flack. She got so much flack, in fact, she deleted it. I don't know if you guys knew this or saw this more recently, but she deleted it yesterday, and then she put this in, sort of walking back what she said. I fully support survivors of this coming forward. My post was in no way intended to be insensitive to their truth. I mean, that's personally, I know from friends and family that such has long, lifelong residual effects. My heartfelt wish is for healing. So why do you think she did this? This is weird to me, and this is again goes to I think where the divisiveness is on this topic, and why I think it's good we all talk about it. Here you have a woman who's like, F these women, in similar stance it seems like that you have, of I don't believe them. They all had motives. This is all, Cosby clearly didn't do that. There's no evidence of it. There's just, a lot of people trying to, clout chase and make some money.
I don't know if you are aware of the financial impact. Felicia Rashad is directly impacted by this financially, economically, and futuristically. Her entire future financially is tied to this,
to Howard University, etc. So this is her, you think, just saying F it, I can't afford to defend him at this point. That's why you
no I'm saying the first tweet, they destroyed the entire residual income that all of the people, and Cosby was a very big pro-black guy. He made sure everybody got residuals from the Cosby show and the What show and the other show. They destroyed all of that and made sure nobody. They took down all the Cosby shows, all of them.
Right, and she makes no
Nobody
money.
made any more money.
And she wasn't there as the other things, so she doesn't really even know. But my point is, why do you think she changed her track? It was just to stay safe in Hollywood? Why do you think she deleted it and is now sort of speaking of the women's truth? I can't stand their truth. There's only one truth, everybody. There aren't multiple. I mean, there are multiple truths because there's always three, right? Yours, them, and the actual truth. But I'm all for the truth. Why do you think she's out there talking about these now women speaking their truth if she believes so heartily?
She probably has a publicist who says, "Oh, Miss Rashad, you shouldn't do that."
Right, and so she's backs it down. It's just interesting. And now we have a lot of Hollywood people just jumping in. Deborah Messing, who I love. I don't. My heart hurts today. It's horrifying. A lot, I guess 70 women weren't enough. The reality is I'm sure a lot of these women didn't actually do a lot of the homework. Because I don't believe 70 women were telling the truth. And so it's interesting. It's like, look, do I believe all of them are lying? I'm not sure. I don't know if I want to go there. I need to do the homework. But I do genuinely believe it wasn't 70. I do believe some of those women were lying. So, that's still where this goes. People are never going to forgive him, no matter what they overturn or find.
Did you hear this, though? The View, when he was convicted, The View, women, they're full of women, right? Came out and said this is a dark day in America where a woman, based on her word alone, can send a man to prison for 10 years. Based on her word alone. The people who are, I guess, famous, some of them, know that there was absolutely no proof, there was no evidence, and I have proof that there was exculpatory evidence proving he was innocent. So it was a horrible case, a terrible case.
Right, I think that I'm still. I need to look into more of this information, do the homework before I'm going to flat out say, yeah, he's innocent. These women are all lying. I just personally want to make sure I do my homework before I go there. However,
we don't even care about 60 women. We care about one woman.
Right now, as for the one woman, I understand what happened, and I can't deny what the justice system did. If he made the deal, they have to fulfill the deal. They shouldn't have made the deal then if that was the case, right? But they did. And so it wasn't right for them to sort of take that back. And for the other thing they did, right, is because the deadlock jury didn't have enough witnesses, they brought all these other women forward whose time had lapsed, right? And they sort of used their witness testimony to try and sway the jury over as well. Wasn't that a second thing they did?
Not only had their time lapsed, they had never gone to the police, never went to an emergency room, never did a rape kit. Never did anything, never brought charges against him. A black man in the 60s by a white woman, please. I don't care if he was, Muhammad Ali or Nelson Mandela. A white woman could have easily taken down any black man in the 60s just based on a whole city burned because a white woman falsely accused a black man of touching her when he fell on her and tripped on getting into the elevator. An entire city, Black City, was burned to a crisp. And you can go look that up.
Yeah, I mean, Jody was asking about it. I do want to bring it up. Do you think there was racial bias in the current trial?
Of course. That's all there was. They don't like Cosby. The federal government said, let out all prisoners because of COVID. Let them all out, except for murderers and it's just really nasty people. And the governor of Pennsylvania said everybody can go except for Bill Cosby.
That is pretty effed up. And he's so old and probably most, susceptible to what was going on at the time.
Yeah.
What's he going to put him on house arrest, lock him up, and what it is? Yeah.
And they even said, well, you could let him go and put an anklet on him. No. Keep him there. Now, I don't know about you, but that smacks of something. Racism? I don't know.
Look, I see a lot of chat. They like you, Shakaama. You're dropping a lot of facts. All right, it's time. Let's bring in the man. He's going to try and troll you a bit, I imagine, but he means well. Let's bring in Vito, everybody. Let's see how I want to see Shakaama take on Vito. What's up, Vito? Vito's setting up his audio.
Can you hear me okay?
I hear you okay. Look, I got to look into.
Hi, Shaka. How are you? Is it Shaka?
You can call me whatever. Just don't call me late for dinner.
All right.
Shakaama is the channel name, but yeah, his Zoom thing.
Shakaama.
So Vito, let's recap. I still have trouble believing they're all lying. I just do, even though I know everyone's like, Andy, they lied about you. Some of them didn't. The reality is one woman, really two women actually, did lie about me and inflated their stuff, and it was all full of shit. However, there was some power dynamic stuff that I know a lot of you don't agree that I did, but there's some women who I just sort of was flirting with that I just shouldn't have been flirting with is reality. And I was married, which was douchey. So my point is, like, they all weren't. So I do believe some of these women might have the right intentions. Now, what Shakaama has said, though, the fact that breaking down the sort of the amounts of how many were inaccurate or not there, or did it acknowledge that nothing happened and we're just there for a photo. I need to do a little bit more homework to watch that stuff to ensure, but it's interesting to hear. But all that said, Vito, I believe you're of the same school of just like you don't believe they're lying. You think Cosby is guilty. Why don't you share your thought? Where's your stance on this, Vito?
I'm of the opinion that Cosby is 100% guilty. The only thing that would change my mind is if you could somehow produce evidence of a organized conspiracy between women across different eras of different ages, which no one has ever brought forth as far as I can tell. This is a quagmire of an issue. I mean, just listening to you guys, there's a lot to touch on, and I'm kind of worried that we're going to get bogged down in a lot of it. But as I've been listening, I kind of wrote down some questions that I just think are some common sense questions that kind of cut to the heart of the problems that involved with this case and claiming Cosby's innocence. So maybe I can put some questions out there. Does that sound reasonable?
Shoot.
Okay. So I think the biggest one is, so we're going to assume, or at least your assertion, is that these women are lying. And all of them have to be lying because they've accused them of rape, and you think no rape has occurred. Can I say that word?
Let's say the R word. Let's say the R word.
Sexual.
The R word.
No sexual anything has occurred. So all of these women are lying. And in that case,
he broke that down. Yes, he broke down why he believed that.
Right. Well, I do want you to reiterate why you think they did this. What was the motivation?
Okay, so Cosby was the first Me Too case. That, of course, by itself should be a conspiracy.
Is that true? Is that true? Is Cosby the first? I mean, yes, it happened at the same time as like Weinstein.
No, it was before. It was before. It was definitely.
But were they using that hashtag? The hashtag I thought was created earlier than that.
Well,
his was the first case. His was the first actual case.
Okay.
Now,
I mean, to be fair, that was the Me Too term used. No, but this was the beginning.
As early as 2006.
This was the theme of it, right? Of sort of when Weinstein happened, they were using Cosby as ammo of like, see, it's all connected. So yes, but it was before Weinstein.
Okay. So yeah, just give me. So this was the first Me Too case.
This was the first Me Too case. If we want to look at hindsight is 2020, right? 90% of the Me Too cases have been brought against black men.
Okay. so who decide now if this was the first one? So Me Too wasn't a thing prior to this. That means, so do you believe someone kicked it off and then someone else decided to try and spin it into a movement?
It was a.
Well, it was a reaction to what's his name, Hannibal Burrus, I guess.
Yes, the traitor Hannibal Burrus, who had no proof of anything, and he he won a conspiracy. That's the conspiracy. They went. But
do you think Hannibal? Do you think Hannibal was part of this conspiracy to kick off a Me Too? Okay.
Yeah.
And what, to raise his profile?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
to be a part of, the
but it's not. So, but Hannibal, you don't believe he invented. I mean, these claims existed. He just repeated claims that were already out there. It's not like he manufactured something, unheard of. Correct.
There's people who swear up and down that I curse.
That what?
I've never cursed in my life. Just because somebody says something existed doesn't mean it actually existed.
Hannibal Burrus, Hannibal took stories that already existed, and you think that was to raise his own profile.
He didn't make jokes. He said Cosby.
I would say it's a joke. He told it on stage at a comedy club. It sounded.
No, he just made statements.
I mean, Chappelle tells statements too. It's part of his act, but Chappelle sometimes doesn't tell jokes. He sometimes gets serious. I feel like Burrus does the same thing, Vito. Let's not argue the semantics of a joke. What's your point? What are you getting at?
I had evidence that two people were at the Burrus thing, and they, when he started making the accusations against Cosby, they high-five each other. The scenario was told to me that they high-five each other, and it was all a conspiracy that they put him up to it because Cosby had said, "Hey, roast me." He put out that thing as a, "Hey, roast me," and Burrus was the part of that whole deal to destroy Cosby.
Well, even if they did high five, I mean, we can't know if that was, "Hey, we're gonna nail this innocent guy," or, "Hey, we're gonna expose an actual abuser." I mean, I can't know what a high five indicates. But beyond Hannibal Burrus, I mean, let's go to the women. So there's 60 women.
Let's be fair, though, Vito. We don't know which one. You're correct. It could be either way. Correct, Vito?
Right. It could go either way. I'm obviously of the opinion that Hannibal had heard these allegations and thought that they were worth bringing up. I never considered that maybe he had some sort of strange idea that he was somehow going to start a national movement. It seems like he'd have to be a bit of a mind reader to assume that's what would happen. But again, let's hold on.
Nobody made that assumption. It's a hey, you want to get on this trend before it happens? Let's make this, see if this is a thing. People in Hollywood do that all the time.
How would he know it was going to trend?
If it didn't, no harm, no foul. I don't think he knew it was going to trend. You're taking a jump and leap. You're taking a leap and a judgment on what he was doing. The reality is he could have been told something.
What was his potential motivation?
This will be funny. No one's hit Cosby yet. I want to be edgy. I can think of 100 million reasons. I don't know if it happened, but I'm kind of annoyed. Like, why are you giving Hannibal Burrus? I've met him. He's all up and wants to make his fame. Like, I could see him be like, yo, this will be funny. Go fuck up with Cosby. All right. And he goes and fucking does it. I could totally see it. I don't know.
I think I don't think we're disagreeing. I think we're confused here. I'm saying that I think Hannibal Burrus just wanted to tell. He thought that the Cosby allegations were both noteworthy and funny, that no one knew about them or was talking about them, and just put it in his act. I think that was all the motivation was. I don't think he was trying to start a wider dialogue or anything.
Agreed. So what's the point of bringing up Hannibal, I guess? What's your point?
Okay.
I believe Shaka brought up Hannibal.
Let me explain something.
Go ahead.
You all might not know the Blackout Sphere. That's where black people talk to each other. Cosby was putting on a conservative nationwide tour, and he was telling black people, pull up your pants, don't have children before marriage, the white man is not your enemy, racism doesn't control your life, you can be successful just if you buckle down and pull up your bootstraps. And he was paying for it himself. Cosby also was in the habit of calling comedians after their shows, after their specials, and saying, you don't have to curse. You don't have to do this. You can be a better comedian if you would just calm down and stop the cursing and blah, blah, blah. He did it to Chappelle. He did it to Arsenio. He did it to Richard Pryor. He did it to everybody you can think of. Black comedians don't like Cosby. They love that he's a legendary comedian, but they don't like Cosby. So Burrus coming out and saying something against Cosby is typical fare for black people.
It sounds, I mean, we're assuming, fine. You haven't assumed a motive for Hannibal. I don't agree with it, but
moving on. Okay.
Let's move on. I want to go to the women. So there's 60 women, some of whom I don't think have ever identified themselves. Why, after Hannibal made these comments, did they decide, in your mind, to jump on what was trending? Well, what was their motivation?
I have the full timeline of that. They had, first it was like 2 women, then it was like 5 women, then it was 10 women.
Sure.
The when they kept putting out the women, there was no reaction. Then it was
there was whoa! I'm going to challenge you on that.
There was no reaction at
after
5 women.
Hannibal's thing went viral immediately. There was an immediate reaction to this information.
Sure, but there's no reaction publicly. There was no public outrage.
Andy, do you agree with that there was no reaction as the accusers were coming out?
I didn't hear it right away. No, I didn't. And even the Hannibal thing.
Didn't you hear the
Hannibal
thing?
You didn't get to me right away.
Story right away?
No. What year? When was this? What year was the Hannibal thing?
We can look it up, but this was trend. I believe this was a trending story. I remember.
Do we know the year the Hannibal thing happened?
I want to say 2015.
Yeah, I mean, I was not canceled. I was around. That was Screen Junkies era. Yeah, no, that did not come up into my orbit. And
interesting.
Shit like that did. I mean, I'm not disputing it didn't go viral to an extent, right? I'm sure it did, but did it? Did it go there? I don't disagree that the Cosby thing got more and more crazy around the trial is when I really started paying attention to the Cosby thing. Personally.
And the only time that...
And I'm curious, chat, put a 1 or 2, please, be fair and don't be biased. Was that a big point for you? Do you remember the first few women coming forward after Hannibal Burrus and making that a big deal? Put a 1 in the chat if you do. Put a 0 in the chat if you don't. Go ahead, Shakaama.
Right. So my contention is that the timeline was that they were not getting a viral response from the public. It wasn't until 30, 40, 50, 60, and then once it hit 60, they said, we gotta put this man on criminal trial. It was at 60 that they said that. It wasn't at 5, it wasn't at 20, it was at 60. And then they searched and they said there is one woman who still has a claim who's still within the statute of limitations.
Okay, real quick. I want to nail you down on this. You're saying they were on it to nail him. Can you define who they is?
The Me Too people.
Okay, so the Me Too movement wanted to nail Cosby.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, continue.
It was only then, especially Cosby was still doing his conservative national tour. And what we have, what's me call it, running for.
He's right. I want to echo. I'm remembering now. I saw Cosby on his tour. He was at South by Southwest at the Funny or Die tent, and I remember it was packed. Vito, that was probably 2015, 2016.
But I also remember news stories of people confronting him at those venues.
No, I was there, and I was there, and I didn't pay attention or know that the Cosby thing was as extreme as it was at that Southwest party. I had a friend get me in because the tickets, it was impossible to get in because it was so slammed. The Good Neighbor guys were there. They had just gotten Saturday Night Live. Like, it was a big deal, and he was there, and it was so boring. He was there in his chair, like, blah, blah. I was like, this isn't funny because I just wasn't paying attention to what Cosby was, what he was doing or all the controversy. So I just wanted to put out there, I do remember that Funny or Die South by Southwest at that period, totally celebrating and letting him go out on his tour. Go ahead, but Shakaama, go keep going.
Okay. Also, they said we need a woman with a claim that's still within the statute of limitations. When they said that, Andrea Constant was in fact within the statute of limitations, but she was under a gag order, so she couldn't say anything. They overcame that. Also, by the time they moved to the trial to file the case, she's outside of the statute of limitation. And the state of Pennsylvania wrote a new law just for Cosby, just so she could bring her case against Cosby outside of the statute of limitation.
All right, I think we're getting a little into the weeds here. Again, I want to get back to this idea. So you're saying
it was 2000. It was 2014, Vito, and then the Funny or Die thing was afterwards, 2014.
Well, I'm seeing in 2015 he was getting heckled by crowds saying "We believe women." So I don't know the exact amount of time
that was
between
afterwards.
that.
Yeah, but that for 2014 is when he made this song. Anyway,
less
continue.
than a year later,
continue.
it seems like. Okay, so the Me Too people wanted to nail Cosby.
Yes.
Now, why did these 60 women get involved? What is they're motivated to make Me Too happen?
They were, by the Time magazine was literally calling. What do you have a Cosby story? Come to New York and take a picture with us and all the
so
chairs.
a trip to New York was the motivation?
Yeah, sure.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that.
You haven't seen Jerry Springer where the girl says, "This dude bought me a hamburger, and I did it with him for a hamburger."
Okay, but here's my question: do you believe these women had consensual relations with Cosby? That they took pills together and had relations?
A few of them. There's one I know. He paid for her entire her luxury apartment for a whole year, and then after a year, he said no. She was a part of the 60.
Okay, so you believe he did have relationships with some of these women, right?
Yeah, and in the actual evidence for Andrea Constant, in the telephone, they admitted that they had a relationship. It was her period of experimentation with men.
This is one accuser you're talking about right now.
This is the.
I want to focus on the broader
okay.
picture.
You asked do I think they had relations? Yeah.
Okay, you believe they had relations, but why, after having consensual relations with Cosby, would they then decide? Well, even though I was with this guy and it was perfectly consensual, and I assume they had a good time. I would assume, based on the way you're characterizing it. What happens to a woman
I can't believe you about to ask this. Okay, go ahead.
Well, what happens to a woman where decades later she goes, you know what? Even though Cosby was nice to me and we had a great time, I now want to come forward and bury this man. Where does that motivation come from?
Sir, I don't know what your background is. I don't know what you deal with, but I deal with this a lot. I deal with women who come and say, "Oh, they R-worded me." Come to find out, she's only making this accusation is because she doesn't want her father to know. She doesn't want her boyfriend to know. She doesn't want her whatever to know.
These are 67-year-old women for how would anyone find out that they had relations with Cosby? It's been 30 years. No one knows about these relationships with them. You're claiming that they bring this up because they're worried family members will find out they had sex 30 years ago with Bill Cosby. Wouldn't that be something?
I already told you the motivation. $100 million is a motivation.
So you think it's money? I mean, you're going all over. Okay, so you're giving me multiple motivations. So one is to avoid the shame of family members. I don't buy that. Okay. The other is for money. So most of these women have received no payout, as I understand.
They have, yes.
How many women have received
Cosby's
the payout?
Been paying out in jail the whole time.
To all of these women?
50, 60 million. The whole time.
Okay. How many women have received some sort of settlement from Cosby?
I don't know. You'd have to check with the Gloria Allred cases.
I see 7 women have reached a settlement. So 7 of the 60, it seems like, from a brief look.
I told you at the beginning of the whole thing, 50% of them said nothing happened.
I don't know about that. Where are you getting this 50% of women said nothing happened? What does that mean?
Because we went through each woman case by case.
And when you say nothing happened, what did they say?
Literally nothing happened. Literally, they said, well, I don't know why I'm here.
I don't know why I'm here. Can you give me an action? I don't think any of them said, I don't know why I'm here. They did. They said, I don't know why I'm here.
I don't know why I'm here. And Time Magazine or New York Times or whatever.
I would love a name to put that quote to. If you can find me that quote, I'll be on your side. I'll be on your side if you can find women telling me nothing happened and I got tricked.
Because I'm going through this article and I don't even want to show because I don't know it's the wrap, but they're going through sort of breakdowns of all 60 accusations, and I've been trying to skim them to try to understand, and most of them are pretty serious. And I think it's important we sort of go through and what are these situations at various times across. It's a lot. So I agree with Vito to extent. I'm not saying disagreeing with you, but I would love that link or something, even if you can find it, like where.
If you can provide me that link, you've got a silver bullet, my friend.
I agree.
I'm not the guy who went through. Like I said, I'm not the guy who went through there are YouTubers who literally interviewed all 60 women.
Can you name one? I don't think any.
I mean, I believe. Look, just so we're clear.
Believe that.
No, I believe Shakaama knows the case, and I don't believe he's lying. So I just want to be clear.
I think he's stretching the truth. What, Andy? Real quick, what YouTuber was able to interview all 60 Cosby victims? Most of them have never come forward.
They're from the nation of whatever. I don't know what. I'm not into that. Maybe Nation of Islam.
If there was a YouTuber who interviewed all 60 victims, I'm pretty sure that would be huge. That video would be going around.
No, it wasn't publicized. People had to tell me, go look at this guy's stuff.
Well, it might not, but hold on. Shakaama is a law student, not a YouTuber. He may have seen it interviewed on YouTube. Doesn't mean he's a YouTuber, Vito. It could have been someone with the press. I don't know. But yeah, I would love, just for people watching this and doing their own homework, Shakaama, if you're able to remember or figure out how we can look it up or try to attempt to find it, that I agree with Vito. That would be very helpful, just because I think people would stop disagreeing, right? Because it would prove it. I'm looking right now. I have it on screen for you guys to see. Like, these are a lot of people.
Trying to remember.
There's a lot of. There's 50 something. And there's a few at the end. They're like, well, they didn't speak up, but there's still 55 women in these accusations who are not saying nothing happened. And as I'm going through, it's like, some of them are less scale than others, but it's Cosby being inappropriate. Or groping or whatever, like stuff's happening in these accusations. So while I respect what you're saying, I'm trying to figure out a half of these accusations, which this was reported on the Wrap in 2018. I feel like it would be big news, and if it's not, I want to find it so we can make it big news, because I'm slightly
that would
confused.
be a breaking story. I want to say. I mean, you're giving me. I can't go on faith alone. You're claiming there's women who have said nothing happened. I don't know why I'm here. And you're claiming there's some interview somewhere where all of the women were interviewed, and we can pick apart their stories.
Yeah, I've seen
neither of these things, and if you want to produce them, congratulations. But I have to say, I'm very skeptical of those claims. That would be huge news. That I can't imagine that wouldn't be reported on in some fashion.
I don't want to keep hitting it. Vito, I hear you. I respect what you said, and I've echoed it. I agree. I don't know. I've been looking for it too. I don't know where that's coming from, but that's where Shakaama is coming from, so it is what it is. Shakaama, do you have any other response aside from the video you watched to sort of echo? Because, again, as I'm scrolling through, I'm not seeing them say nothing. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like they're all saying something. So is it possible some of these women, maybe they weren't, the R word, but, could Cosby have been creepy and rubbing up against them and doing things that made them inappropriate? Do you think any of that could have happened?
I don't think the scenario where the women and Cosby would be together would be a case where the woman was expecting church people to be. She's in a situation where it's a party situation in a crowded situation. That's all it was. He hung out at the Playboy Mansion. Does a woman have a reasonable expectation at the Playboy Mansion for people not to... I've been to places where people have rubbed me, and I said, okay, I need to go.
Can I ask another question? Oh, I'm sorry. Is someone playing?
No, it's just the echo. Keep going. Go ahead.
Okay. Another question I wanted to ask. So we know a lot of these women who you say have had consensual relations with Cosby, and then later decided to join a movement we still haven't nailed down exactly what their motivations are. For money, okay. And of them, 7 of the 60 have received money that we know of. Most of them did not receive anything. And we agree on that, I assume. So that's why I don't buy that argument, is most women are not profiting from this in any way. And some are saying that they could get book deals. How are you going to write a whole book on one night you spent with Cosby? It's not. You're going to get a couple pages out of that. It's not going to be a whole book.
DA wrote a book. The judge wrote a book. The jurors wrote a book.
Yeah, because there's a whole court case there. But your one night stand with Cosby is not going to be literary.
They wrote a book. They wrote books. Beverly Johnson wrote a book.
I don't know. I think some of these people could write books. Look,
I'm not signing that book deal. Not going to be a big seller. I don't feel.
You'd be surprised.
If you got all of them together to write one big book, maybe, but individually, no.
Well, so you believe women, but you don't buy their book, Vito? Interesting.
Let me ask the question I want to ask though. To your knowledge, has any woman come out and said, me and Cosby, we hung out. He had the Quaaludes. We loved to party. We had a great night together. And I don't know what these other women are talking about.
The woman in the deposition.
Okay, so within the court deposition, there was a woman who said, "I partied with Cosby."
They interviewed him and her, and she said, "Yes, I asked for the Quaaludes."
Did she say that she was happy with the encounter?
Yeah.
Okay, I wanna try and find her
friends with
name.
Cosby. You can look that one up.
Okay, Cosby friend Quaaludes. So of these, but there's one. Like
She's
no other women. No
she's
other
the most
women.
important one. You all keep quoting the deposition.
Well, I just feel like if you saw Cosby and you thought he was really being railroaded and that 60 women were lying about him, and you had firsthand experience of having a great night with him, and you guys shared some party drugs. I mean, sure, maybe some people don't want to admit to that, but I feel like you would have, if he had relations with 60 women, there should be a good number who also are willing to come forward and say, no, we had a great time, and I feel like he's being railroaded. But I don't see that.
She does. The deposition woman literally does.
But that's 1 out of 60. I don't deny the fact that it is very possible that Cosby did have consensual relations on at least a few occasions. But I feel like if there would be just more people willing to vouch for him. Why have they not come out to say, no, Cosby was a great lover and a friend, and I don't see that.
Everybody on the Cosby show said he was.
Well, he wasn't having relations with them, I don't think.
Exactly. They were like, this is incredible. I can't believe these women are coming out. They have to be lying.
How would they have any knowledge of what goes on behind closed doors? I'm sure Cosby isn't on set.
They're with him for what, 12 hours a day? They're gonna see
when you get off set, you're not going back to Cosby. I don't. They would know that Cosby at night was having women come over for script readings, and they were having wild occasions.
There was women who accused him in interviews on the set.
So have any of these women who are on the Cosby show said, oh, Cosby was just a womanizer and he was just having, crazy relationships with all these women, but it was completely consensual? Has anyone on the Cosby show admitted that Cosby was a womanizer?
Guy and he encouraged black women to get ahead.
But did they ever say he was always, having girlfriends around and they were having drugs together?
No.
Well, I mean, if you're saying that everyone on set knew what he was up to, shouldn't they know? You're also saying that he was a party guy that was having relationships with women. None of them have ever confirmed that.
Well, he was a party guy in his 60s, 70s at the Playboy Mansion.
I mean, so look, I want to get to, because we can do this all day, but you're speculating just as much, Vito, is the reality of what's happening right here. Now, it's clear you guys just disagree.
I'm speculating on the point that he's saying because people on the Cosby show said nothing bad about Cosby, that's some reasonable evidence that nothing occurred.
Well, no, but the reality...
They said positive stuff about him. They didn't say anything bad. They said positive stuff.
But not positive stuff in reference to his relationships. Just, yeah, he's a great guy. We kicked the football around. I can say great things about my buddy, but I don't know who he's banging or whatever else.
No, they say positive stuff like, oh my God, he treats me like a son. Oh my God, he treats me like a daughter. He takes me under his wing.
Hopefully he's not giving his son Quaaludes. And
I don't think he was giving Malcolm Jamal Warner Quaaludes, no. But all those casts they were very supportive and did not go out, and a lot of people didn't go. In fact, I don't remember a lot of celebrities and people from the shows coming out to shit talk him. Do you have proof of that, Vito? Like, the reality is what we have here is, and it's on, I have it, you guys, I'm scrolling through it on the shared screen. There are, 55 specific allegations here of ranging accusations. Some from I got dizzy and don't remember, to some that he pressed against me. Like, it's varying degrees of seriousness. And some of them are from the early 70s, 80s, 90s. It runs the gamut. Now, the reality is Gloria Allred and others really did sort of do a bullhorn and say, hey, we're going after Cosby. And I can relate to that, Vito. Like, I absolutely can relate to that. I had one false accuser was out there saying it, and so many women came out of the woodwork to add more to the narrative and do it. And look, I'm not denying that these women might not be telling the truth. They might be. But the reality is that I have trouble because they haven't charged him, right? And even the case that was against him made a deal to not charge him. And clearly it was not a very fair trial for him, like him or not, guilty, clearly not a fair trial, and let him go. So at the end of the day, it's like, what are we supposed to do? Like, for your final thoughts, Vito, and getting to sort of your point to Shakaama, Shakaama clearly stands on the fact that he believes that Cosby, there's no proof that Cosby did any of this. He's not here defending the guy and saying he's an angel, but he's clearly like, look, I got no proof that he hurt anybody, And the reality is, I'm looking for it too. I got a lot of women who spoke up, but I've gotten no charges now that have stuck that have said he did it. So Vito, what's your evidence or comment to sort of sway people listening? Because again, this is all about the conversation, and everybody's going to make up their own minds. We don't know. We weren't there. It is what it is.
And I do think we need to point out real quick, the statute of limitations in California is 10 years. So there's a lot of cases that could not be brought against Cosby at this point in time.
They could have been brought up 10 years during the times, and none of them were.
Sure, but again, I think we've talked about it being a different era. I think even Shakaama, how you doing? Admitted, people would slap women on the butt, and you were just supposed to go along with it. And we have a lot of accounts, historical accounts, where women from that time have said it just wasn't the thing that you did, and I'm inclined to believe that. Yeah,
I agree.
Was just the sentiment at the time.
I agree with that.
I don't
right or wrong. That was sort of what happened. So they couldn't. But they didn't come forward. So should he be punished today for crimes 40 years ago that they didn't come forward on? Is what the question is, right?
Well, not punished in a court of law because the statute's run out, but professionally and reputationally.
Don't you think he is being punished professionally and reputationally?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying he's not being punished, but the question right now is not is he being punished? It's is he completely innocent?
The question is the question on screen this whole time is could Bill Cosby be innocent? Because I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm just the whole point of this thing is I shared your point, Vito, to be clear, full disclosure. I share your point, but my eyes have been opening a bit where it's just like, I guess it's possible.
The burden of proof is on the prosecution, not the defendant, and the fact is there has been zero evidence. Only allegations years after the fact. No charges ever brought forward. Anyone other than Cosby, this would be a non-issue.
Nicole, thank you for that.
I'd buy that for
I'd mention that
Nicole. Appreciate that.
There's no physical evidence, but there is witness testimony, which is
we haven't talked about this.
And
case.
we have Cosby's own admission that he would give drugs to women. I mean, there is some evidence existing.
Consensually. I always
claim.
See the media.
I just don't know why more women.
Vito, I want you to agree.
I don't know why more.
I want you to
women
agree to one thing, Vito.
Consensual.
I want you to agree to one thing, Vito. Because this is where I am going to...
I'm pretty sure I won't agree, but let's try it.
The media has a way of spinning the narrative. Are you going to disagree with me on that?
No.
Okay, good. Now I'm glad, because that's all I was asking you to agree on. Now, I believe the media has spun the Cosby narrative very maliciously. Very maliciously. And I think they have changed sort of how we view him and do things. And the reality is, as Nicole said there, I don't have any evidence of it. And I'm a man who needs evidence. Because did you believe my accuser, Vito?
I haven't looked into what your accuser said.
Oh, thanks, Vito. But would you have if she?
Isn't it better? Don't you want me to not know what's going on?
No, it sounds like you would have believed her.
Can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
Well, let me answer Andy right away. I believe in a I'm going to say that word wrong. Preponderance of evidence. There we go. I'm good at
Well,
words.
There's no evidence. There's only some allegations.
Witness testimony is a form of evidence in a court of law. You can convict on witness testimony as evidence. And when I say evidence, I say there are 60 accusers.
But there aren't witnesses to these accusers. There's the accusers making
statements. They are the witnesses. They are giving.
Well, how is that?
Statements.
I agree with you if I have witnesses to these accusers. But, dude, several women came forward and lied about me.
Most crimes of this type typically don't occur. I mean, let's put it this way. You can't imagine a scenario where Cosby took steps to ensure that no one else was around, that these women would have no one else to verify their stories. Just because Cosby may have been very good at burying what he did, it does not mean I want to discount these women because for lack of a third party to verify it. The point is that we have 60 women who have presented their cases, many of them are on public record. You can read them.
Look, it's weird. I guess you are just believing all 60 of these women. You're using it. I saw Rosie O'Donnell say there were 70. There weren't 70. There were 50 something. But what's interesting is like it's not irrelevant. But you're doing exactly what the media is doing, right? You are doing what the media is doing, which is like, oh well, there's 60 of them. Have you gone through all 60, Vito?
There are.
Have you gone through all 60?
All testimony that is on the record that has been presented in interviews, I have read through them. Yes.
You have. Okay, so you've gone through all 60 accusations.
Well, many of them, not all women have given a statement, but of the women who have given a statement,
it looks like there's about 50 something that have given statements.
And someone's asking, you believe 60 random people? It's precisely because they're random that this is so compelling. If these women were united in some way, if they had prior relationships...
But aren't they united in some way? I mean, that's weird.
Not prior to this in any way.
I mean, they're all united in the goal.
United now.
They
I don't
are.
know how they... But if you have a conspiracy, people meet together and they form... I mean, you're going to say it occurred in the 2 or 3 months after Hannibal made his accusation that all these women suddenly formed a network of accusations.
Look, I want to respond to that, and then I'm going to let Shaka and then we can. I don't because we're going in circles, but I do want to answer that. Look, here's where I have trouble because again, I don't know, and I want to be careful because I don't know, and I don't want to disrespect these women if they are telling the truth. However, I need evidence, and it's old stories, and I hope the lesson of all this is women when it happens. Don't be afraid to come forward. We have to come forward. We should listen to women when they come forward, but do the necessary protocols so you aren't put to this YouTubeified, is the woman lying? Because it is sad that we have to sort of do it, but it's very imperative that we do step forward. And I hope, if anything, we learn from all of this, it's that women feel more confident to step forward. The problem is cops, everything. It's not easy for women to step forward. It's not. There's a lot of documentation and true stories you can tell of even police officers not taking these allegations seriously. And they were, in fact, AR'd, right? And it's like, it's terrifying and scary for women. So I get it, but you got to at least try or you're never going to be believed is step one. But where my problem is when you talk to me about someone from the 70s and I'm reading some of these allegations of like, I went up to his room and, I was acting for him and then it got a little fuzzy and I don't remember what happened. I'm sorry, what were you fucking doing in his room? Why were you up there doing that? I'm already instigated of just like, we should be careful. Now, that doesn't justify it of like, if he did something wrong, it's bad. But my problem is to come so late and team up with 50 other women on the argument of, well, I went up and I did all this stuff and then I don't remember from the 70s. Why? It's just like you're not helping. I just don't think. I think there absolutely could be motive to that. There absolutely could, Vito. And I do believe Hollywood and trying to do notoriety, or maybe you have a remembrance of Cosby.
Okay.
Maybe he rubbed you the wrong way. Maybe he did something that wasn't, actually bad, but there was a misunderstanding. So much could go wrong that it's like, I don't know if you could be telling the truth this much later. That's why we have statutes of limitations, right? Because we just don't know. So I do think there's a danger, right? If they're just coming forward this time later with a story like, yeah, I went up to his room and I was acting for him and getting sexy with him, and then I wanted a drink. Some of them are even saying I wanted the drink, and then that's when I don't remember the story.
All right, I have a question for you, Andy. Have you ever had consensual relations with a woman and years later thought, I want to ruin them for some reason?
Women do it all the time.
Has that thought ever crossed your mind? Yes, Shakaama, you're saying?
I see it all the time.
I mean, I see it
all the time.
I don't personally have that, but it happened to me, Vito. I mean, so what is your point? Of course, you're saying it doesn't happen? Because you should look into my case more so you know why I have this stance. It's the only reason I have this stance, because I didn't. I was more like this. But when it happens to you and you see a woman literally lie and then rally up other women to lie for her because she has no evidence, but because she's on she's feeling the power of the movement supporting her, it's giving her life, Vito. And she's literally lying.
I'm not saying it can't happen.
Women do it all the time. So
but
you're telling me in the scope of the world, Vito, you're telling me you find it hard to believe that 60 women came forward as he's being tried and might be making it up to get some attention?
I find it hard to believe that
that's
60
impossible?
Women had consensual relations with Cosby, had a great night partying with drugs, and then years later, out of some weird desire to most of them are not getting money. So some amount of notoriety, which we've been having this discussion. I don't think any of us can name any of these accusers by name. There is no meaningful motivation here other than supposedly to bury Cosby, a man that we're admitting they had a great time with. That's the assumption. They had a great time, and now years later have decided to be part of a movement. This strikes me as ridiculous. It's so beyond the realm. And again, as I was trying to say, preponderance of accusations. Andy, how many accusers did you have? 1, 2?
Dozens.
Dozens.
They all came forward with bullshit. It was all bullshit, Vito. A lot.
But it wasn't that you drugged them and had your way with them.
One person said I had my way with her, multiple times, and she was lying. And another woman said he was trying to jerk off on me. Not true. Like, both of those were extreme allegations that were false. And then some woman came forward and were uncomfortable by my flirtations with them. And in the scope of things, I still don't believe I did anything wrong. The person I did something wrong to was my ex-wife because I was cheating on them. But I was never being aggressive or so.
These
I wasn't
women are
guilty
not
of
claiming
things, but
Cosby.
women were
If these women were
and
claiming
these women
Cosby,
are claiming more, inappropriate things. So
sure.
I hear what you're
if
saying.
If these women said Cosby made me uncomfortable, you'd have a point. But that's not the story.
They did. Some of them absolutely did. Yeah, I'm looking at them right
Cosby,
now.
Okay.
Here's one about he rubs against her. He was in the back of her.
It's a little different from making. All right.
Where was it? He grinded on her. I mean, sure, but this was back in the day when we said that was a different world.
Cosby brings me in a young person, tells you that's the opportunity of a lifetime. He's going to bring you into the entertainment industry. He tells you, by the way, I've got this pill. It's going to calm you down. It's an herbal remedy. It's going to, get rid of your nerves. It's going to help you act better. You pass out, you wake up, your pants are off. I mean,
what's interesting to me is that all of the stories start having the same thing, which was that things become blurry. So look, and I'm not saying this didn't happen. I don't want to, but this is from the 60s, one's from the 70s, and all these stories do have a bit of like, hey, I'm going to echo what I've heard the media tell me to do. And I will say that does happen, Vito. Like, it's
I'll give you a counterpoint. Typically, criminals have a pattern. And when you find something that works, you don't really switch it up. If you discover a way to have non-consensual relations with women, you're gonna keep on with that same pattern that you've
right, but then wouldn't we see more than 60 women over the course of from the 60s? Cosby?
Vito.
Depends on how often he was doing
Go ahead.
it.
Let's get Shakaama.
So, Vito, I have also 4 years of psychology credits. I could be a psychologist if I wanted to get my license.
Sure. What license do you currently have, by the way?
I don't. I'm a third year.
You're a third year of what?
Third year law school student.
And you're in school now?
No, I'm on hiatus. I need money.
How long have you been on hiatus?
A couple of years.
Okay. I just want your background. Go ahead.
I literally went and researched the actual Psychological Association of America about people who do this, actual people who do this. And they say you cannot rehabilitate them. And it doesn't stop. Cosby has not had an accusation for 20 years. There's no possible way that he's
an old man. I think old men, you slow down.
By the way, sorry,
certain parts stop working.
Hold on.
Certain parts stop working at that age.
Thank you.
You lose the urge.
Vito, I'm sorry I missed this. I got to look more into it. But Michael Mosley, thank you. Drew Story News speaks on some of the accusers who were proven wrong or were lying. And he said another chat again. I told you where to get the names of the accusers that were lying again. Drew Story News speaks of Chloe Groins, who had fabricated her account, one of the 60. Apparently, Vito, that's if you want to look up or anybody else can help us.
Chloe Groins,
and here's the channel where he gets into a lot of this, breaks down a lot of the sort of facts about this trial and how a lot of these women. I don't know. Is this what you saw, Shakaama, or no?
Oh, I have some of these too myself. I did something in my playlist too.
Okay, so there's there you go. So Drew Story News is one of the sources, Vito. Just because that. Sorry, thank you.
Yeah,
Michael.
Drew Story News. Yeah, that's him.
Okay, so and if I watch that, he's gonna give me his take on why he believes she fabricated it.
he will also reference another guy that is some sort of like religious type of guy, black religion. I don't. And he
can
is
you
the
tell
one
me
who did actual interviews with each woman. 2 hours, no less.
Okay, so who did interviews with these women? It was a psychologist.
You have to reference Drew's story first.
He's saying Drew's story links to the person in question, so we're getting closer. So, Vito, Vito, imagine if it exists.
I still do not buy that this exists.
You refuse to.
There's
the bias, right?
Let me see. Drew Story News, real quick.
All right. Well, you look. Everyone's annoyed with you because you're bringing no evidence. We have to do more. We have to do more evidence. But I look it up. That's the whole point.
All I can
this
say
point
is
of the conversation was to get more information.
Witness testimony is evidence.
I disagree with you.
In a court,
Vito,
you disagree with the court of law. You disagree with the legal system. But you know that you disagree with the legal system.
So basically, you're haters. Just be prepared for this. This is why I'm getting more aggressive about this topic.
Sure. Go ahead.
Literally, 60 of your trolls that are women,
50 women
could come forward and accuse you.
If 50 women accuse me of drugging them and having my way with them, then yes, I did it.
Whoa. Don't say that out loud, buddy.
No, I absolutely...
someone could absolutely do it to you.
Then do it. If 50 women accuse me of drugging and having my way with them, then there is beyond a shadow of a doubt I did.
Can I say something?
Either that or there is an insane organized conspiracy that I will so easily be able to disprove.
Like the Me Too
by linking
movement?
These women together. The Me Too movement is not... How is it a conspiracy? It's a hashtag movement. It's women sharing their stories.
No, they're leaders of the Me Too movement.
Oh, come on,
not
Vito.
all of them are leaders.
Come on, Vito. They are profiting, Vito.
Name the leader.
Alyssa Milano.
Name the leader.
What's her name? The Islamic woman.
Yeah, who's the one who...
Islamic woman.
Whoa. Hold on. No. Who's the one who was supporting Amber Heard and then left? There's a bunch of them, dude. There's a bunch of them. Time's Up, Me Too. They are profiting. You crazy, Vito? Careful, man.
Some of that, look.
A lot of big level people
printing
making money.
And making money.
No. Way more organized. You're wrong.
How many of these 60 women are profiting from that? If you can show me a direct link from these 60 accusers profiting somehow from the Me Too movement.
I mean,
are they out there giving
Gloria? There you go, Gloria. You don't think Gloria Allred's not profiting on the Me Too movement?
Is Gloria Allred one of the accusers?
She's the lawyer, dude, who brings all these women
forward. She's not one of the accusers.
Oh my God!
I want you to show me how these accusers are profiting. Are they getting a kickback from Gloria Allred?
No, Vito. The people who are starting the
movement. So she's convinced all these women to make money. We're
on a different thing. Me Too was a proper movement. It's a proper movement with good intentions.
And how do these accusers benefit from it?
Hold on, I didn't say the accusers.
Why did they say anything?
Are you going to let me? Are you going to let me finish?
No.
Are you going to let me? No, you're not going to let me finish. Well, then I'll kick you off.
Go ahead.
My point is, like many good intentions, people come in and monetize and take advantage. And I need to do a little bit more homework because I wasn't prepared for this part of this conversation. But I promise you, there are people who are monetizing and leading both Time's Up and the Me Too movement for their own political gains, monetarily, whatever they're trying to do. Jobs, getting hired places, being authorities figures. They are using the movement and they're canceling and taking people out, defending one of them. There was literally one of them was literally Amber Heard's lawyer. And when Amber Heard started getting, oh crap, she's not a good person, this woman left the case. Because they go to what sort of they move around to sort of get high profile cases to keep the momentum going, and there's other cases I'm not prepared for, but I chat. Somebody help me out with a link or something I can pull up or exact example. But I assure you, it has gotten corrupt. It meant well, but I'm not talking about all the accusers. I'm talking about the people now who have rallied the accusers and are now leading the accusers, etc.
So has Gloria Allred tricked these women into furthering her financial?
Gloria Allred is the definition of a grifter. Are you nuts? Do you not know who she is?
Did she?
She's a lawyer. She wants
to sit them down and say, "I need you to lie."
She doesn't have to.
She doesn't have to.
I bet you she has. I bet you she has.
Absolutely. Why would they do that? What do they get? Okay,
you don't know who she is. You sound so stupid right now. You don't know who. You do not know who Gloria Allred is.
but I want to know, what do these women, how do they benefit from lying for Gloria Allred? What
money,
do they receive?
book deals, press conferences.
What book deal? Name the book. What book? Name the book. Who wrote a book?
Let's go look up Gloria Allred supporters.
No, not Gloria Allred.
I mean,
which accuser wrote a book? Because you're saying the
Beverly
accusers
Johnson.
are benefiting.
He's telling you you're not
monetarily.
listening. You're not listening.
I'm naming the people. Beverly Johnson.
Beverly Johnson has a book.
Yes.
Okay, let me look it up. Beverly Johnson book.
All right.
I'm just looking up Gloria Allred's like
The
infamous
face that
client.
changed it all from 2015. Is that what you're talking about? Because
She's like celebrity lawyer, scandal lawyer, dude. I don't know why you were going down this wormhole, but you're losing this one, dude.
What are you talking about?
Gloria Allred is like
it has nothing.
Yes,
to
she's
do with
scummy. She's tabloid. She'll put anybody on a trial to sell the
You're
book.
not hearing. You're not
athletes
hearing
all
my
the
question.
time.
You aren't paying
hearing my
attention.
question. You're not hearing my question. Gloria Allred benefits financially.
Yeah, yes, she's Tiger Woods' mistresses.
Hold on.
Rachel Uchachel. Lots of people. Worth. Look at this on screen right now.
I'm not
confident. No. Look at this, Joe. Dude, Vito. Here's
not
one.
Arguing this
Gloria
point with
Allred
you.
brought together
Stop.
Rachel Uchachel, who made tens of
You're
millions of
going on a
dollars
tangent.
to get confidentiality
I'm not arguing
settlements.
that point. That isn't the point. The point is Gloria Allred benefits financially. Okay, but the only way for her to do that is to have these accusers upon which she can build her case. She can't make money without them. She needs them to have the case, right?
Yeah.
So how does she convince these women to lie on her behalf? What is she promising them?
Money.
And how much money have they gotten?
Tens of millions of dollars. I just showed you one.
Tens
You want
of
to
millions
listen?
of dollars to
Bill, you don't think Bill Cosby paid out some of these women? What
7 of
planet
them.
are you on?
No, it's not more than 7. Come on, dude.
Not all of
I mean,
the accusers
I'm
have
with you on some
gotten
of this.
paid.
This is such an idiotic detour. You're
How
trying
did she
to tell me
I got a question.
none of these
How did
women
she
are
find
profiting
them?
by suing Cosby?
Did
Dude,
she
they
pick-
did.
I got a question. How did she find these women? Did she just pick them out of
They
a crowd?
They literally put out a call. Hey,
Yeah,
come
like they
choose
did a press
Cosby.
release for it. They come forward. It was a slow build, and more. I never thought anyone else would believe me.
So you put out the call and you say, all right, I need women to come forward
No
to
one
talk
said
about
that.
Cosby.
No one said that. So Cosby has been doing this forever. And look, in my case, the woman's like, "Come forward, we will believe you. If Andy's done something terrible to you, we will not.
Sure.
We will not
Come
ignore
forward,
you
we'll
any
believe you.
further."
How
Gloria
do
Allred
these-
was out there. Lawyers were out there saying this. We believe there are more accusers. Reach out to us. Of course, they were doing that, dude. I saw that.
So you picture these women. They see Gloria Allred is looking for accusers, and they start rubbing their hands together, and they go, "Payday."
Yes.
That's it?
Yes. I do. Dude, have you ever watched it?
Television.
I think you made a good pointer. Have you ever watched the Jerry Springer show, Vito?
Sure.
I was on it. And you know what they do?
They're actors.
No, they're not. That's false.
But a lot of them
They are, but you know who they are? They're just
They
people.
know what they're doing.
They're people who know what they're doing. Facts. And that's what's happening here. You're ignoring it. There's so many people out there. They don't need to be told. Gloria Allred's not, I don't think, going to tell them, but you're telling me there's some lawyers who are like saying behind closed doors, shut the fuck up, don't admit that, stop talking about that. You're not. Of course they're controlling the narrative.
Again,
it's
my
their
question
job to
is-
do that. So of
Okay.
course they're telling people to lie or not talk or not say things.
On
Gloria Allred's doing it
average.
all day long. But yes, just like Jerry Springer, I'm not saying these women, I don't know, but I'm just saying in the scope of the world, of course some of these women like Jerry Springer hear the call, see the news and go, I met Cosby once. You know
Sure.
what? I don't remember what happened that night. They might believe it, Vito. They might believe it.
I'm willing to even concede there are a number of accusers who may have falsified things, but I'm going to ask you a question. On average, the average adult human woman, is the average woman a liar and a cheat?
What? That is a terrible question.
Say yes or no. What do you think? Do you
That's a
think
horrible
women
question.
are mostly liars?
According to Thomas Aquinas, all humans are liars and cheats
Sure.
and
But
sin
this is a
and
pretty
following of the
This
glory
is
of
a
God.
pretty severe lie. This is different from saying I forgot to pick up chicken at
For
the store.
$100 million, you don't think women would lie? You
Who
don't think
got
women would lie
no
now?
individual woman got $100 million. Look, the point is,
well, hold on.
do you
Whoa.
think
Let him
that the
respond.
number-
Let him
Okay,
respond.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You said $100 million is a lot. What did you mean that, Shakaama? What do we have?
Gloria Allred demanded $100 million from Cosby before the case even went to trial.
So there you go, Vito.
Sure. Okay, so let's assume
that would be
brings...
spread out over multiple women. That would be spread out over multiple women.
Okay, sure. Let's say that brings 60 women out of the woodwork. But I'm gonna go.
Hold on, Vito. Let's pause for a second. Gloria Allred's suing for $100 million. It's a lot of money that gets to be spread out to multiple victims. You don't think
that could in the settlement?
You don't think that could inspire some women to go, man, I had a weird instance with Cosby.
Absolutely, and I've conceded that. I've conceded that it is very possible that some of the accusers were motivated by money.
But that's the start, because we don't know which ones were. And now we've acknowledged that some do. And I want to get to a chat. Nicole, thank you, Nicole. As a woman, I can attest to the fact that some women will lie simply for attention or the simple power it gives them over another. It's just facts.
Absolutely. Some will lie.
How many people are in the world, Vito? How many people are in the world, Vito?
I want to get to the point I've been trying to make for the last 5 minutes.
How many people in the world? We're going to go billions, right?
Billions of
billions.
Sure.
How many women do you think Cosby has spoken to or been with in his career?
I have no idea.
I mean, is it safe to say millions? Let's say.
You think one a week?
100 million?
Not
you think
millions?
What do you think? Women that he's interacted with in his whole life, probably a million, thousands. What do you want? 100,000? I would think he's interacted with a lot of women in his day. Not just sexually. I'm just saying over the course of working with, walking by, etc.
If you let me finish, I'm even
60 of those are the only ones that came forward. But go ahead.
Okay. Let me give you a gimme. Let's assume that in the world there exists 60 women who hear about $100 million and go, I want in. I'm going to lie about this man. I just want that money, and that's my only motivation. How many women do you think exist who have had consensual relations with Cosby, who went to his house, took the party pills, had a great night, and are now sitting in silence, refusing to come forward to support this man? Do you think there are hundreds of women who are just watching this man get buried and they don't want to come out? Andy, how many women do you think?
Who he's hooked up with that did not? I mean, none of the women I hooked up with that came to my defense. I spoke to them privately. None of them wanted to come forward and deal with that and defend him and defend me. So I can tell you it's not easy for them. And I spoke to some of them.
But you just told me Cosby. How many women did you have relationships? Oh, you probably don't want to give that number.
I spoke. Well, I'm answering you. You don't want to accept
Rich,
the reality.
Please unsubscribe from me. Anybody who says in the chat, I'm going to unsubscribe, do it right now. I don't want you to subscribe to my channel.
Let Vito. Vito's allowed. Look, I'm
dead serious. I want to lose thousands of subscribers because all I'm doing is
Vito has made this show interesting. I love that we disagree.
Unreasonable. I'm not being mean to Andy.
No, he's being respectful. He's wrong. He's wrong sometimes, but
we're having a disagreement. I want you to
be kind to Vito.
Be
kind to Vito. He's made this show more fun and more interesting. So be nice to Vito. That goes to everyone in the chat. I know a lot of people are giving you shit. Vito has a thick skin, but let's be respectful to all our guests. You can disagree with Vito all you want, but he's being fair. But I want to answer your question. I want to answer your question. You make an interesting point, but I can tell you from a fact that yes, I had consensual relations with women who reached out to me when the shit hit the fan, and they weren't comfortable coming forward because of all the drama and craziness and not wanting to admit that they had an affair, that they were involved with me. They were worried, whatever. They didn't want to be seen as a fame chaser. There's a lot of reasons why some of these people wouldn't want to come forward. Cosby's like enemy number one in the media. It's like a career killer.
But our assumption was from you that Cosby has had relations with potentially thousands of women. And you're saying that of those thousands of women...
Who said that? Wait, where did you get the thousands of women?
You said a million!
No, I said I said just interacted with, worked with, throughout his year, had students at his classes. I'm just talking about his engagements with women, right? Just talking. Hello.
What was the basketball player that said he had thousands of women?
Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Great man. Okay.
But my point is, I'm sure he's with a lot of women, and some of those didn't want to come forward. I do believe that.
My point is, I don't know if you've even had relations with 60 women. I haven't. That's a very high number as far as I can attest to. If Cosby has had the number of relationships that we're assuming he has, more than one woman would come out to say, I support this man. We had a consensual relationship.
Dude, his TV mom did it. Hello?
Did he have relationships with his TV mom?
Who knows?
What?
Who knows?
Who knows?
None of my
Who knows?
business. All I know, he had a better relationship with her than most. I think she would know the man, and she's defending him. So I don't know, man.
All right. Can I make? I'll make my final points. So
okay, final points.
No, before you make your final points,
yeah,
let me say
go
something.
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so you keep talking about generalities. I want to talk about this specific case, and I want to say this: Cosby tried to present exculpatory evidence. The prosecution, the district attorney, presented a telephone call between Cosby and the mother that they edited out all of the exculpatory evidence in the phone call, which they then did not give to the defense team.
Can you define who the mother is? The mother of one of the victims?
No, the mother is the mother of Andrea Constantine.
Okay. So they edited out any exculpatory audio.
They edited out the exculpatory audio. The Cosby team tried to present other exculpatory evidence. The actual accusation, which supposedly happened in 2004, Cosby was not at his home from 2003 to 2005. So the whole point of this case is stupid because there is absolutely nothing, including the witness testimony, that is actually corroborated by any facts, and in fact, all the facts point for Cosby's innocence. So there.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I'm going to say, in response to that, at no point am I defending anything the prosecution did. Prosecution clearly dropped the ball. I do not agree with giving someone immunity and then later turning it against them. That goes against the whole point of immunity.
Yep.
And we're not going to put Cosby away just for the sake of whatever. We're not going to get rid of immunified testimony for the sake of putting one man away. That is a right that should be enshrined. Absolutely. So again, this is not me taking down the prosecution. This is more of me looking at the facts and outside the scope of the trial and anything else. My opinions on his guilt, not in a court of law, but just in my mind.
But several women's accusations were like that. They fell outside of he wasn't even there. He wasn't in the city. He never met the person. Of the 60 women, a good 30% were like that.
I would have to see the evidence. I'm sure that's something the defense claimed, but I don't know what hard evidence exists.
Well, how about we agree to this, Go look.
I'm happy to look, and I'm really hoping that Shaka will provide some of the
it looks like we have
sources.
We have one website here. This apparently Drew News. He's confirming. Drew Store News gets into some of this. Shakaama has done some videos about some of the victims. And I want to also thank Myra. I'm going to go through chats. Keep them coming. Thanks for supporting tonight. It's been a fire stream. I want to thank both Vito and Shakaama for coming on to do this. We got lots more to talk about. But Myra just said the model, Janice Dickinson, promoted her book by talking up her Cosby encounter. Her story has changed over the years. I do remember that. Janice Dickinson was not always being honest and has admitted that, it shifted a bunch. And she made a lot of money from a book, Vito. That's one of them. We got
one book. We got 7 settlements. That leaves 52 women who I don't think are profiting.
David March, also, David, thank you. He wants this is relevant. David says, Andy, remember, you are yelling at a professional idiot right now, referring to Vito, the professional idiot.
And I own that title. And anyone else, I think somebody else called themselves a professional idiot, and I didn't know if they stole it from me. I was like, I got to trademark that.
I got to go back to D. Duvall. Thank you, D. Duvall, for that super chat in the beginning. 60 women lied. I highly doubt it. I think there's no doubt a majority of them lied. There's plenty of proof they're full of it. But the Larry King clip and his deposition, that's some damning stuff. Yeah, so is the clip with him and Sofia Vergara. Look, I don't necessarily like Cosby. I don't want to defend Cosby, but I absolutely will defend his right to a fair trial and to make sure he's not put away without evidence. And look, I may not like some of the things I've read in the deposition and sort of the persona he seemed to not be, but as long as he hasn't performed any crimes, as long as it can't be proven, the dude's allowed to be out of jail. He's going to be canceled and destroyed no matter what. He's done in the eyes of many people. Right or wrong, that's just the reality that he's going to always have to face. He's also very old. He's going blind. Clearly doesn't have much time left. But at the end of the day, It wasn't a fair trial, and we gotta acknowledge that. Michael Mosley just sent another one. Thank you. Chloe Goins is who we got to look up. So that's the research we need to do. Chloe Goins is another one who lied, and you'll have to look up that Vito. Thoughts, Vito? As we
well, I'm going to say one thing on that is when you have this many accusers, it's very easy to start picking individual accounts apart. And there may be individual accounts that don't hold up, but to say 1 or 2 or 3 stories fall apart means all 60 are lying, I think is disingenuous. And I've even admitted it's very possible a few women have come forward out of some unknown motivation. But I just can't believe that Cosby in his life had 60 encounters with these women. All of them ended in some way that it caused them to feel so negatively about him or so callous about him that they did not care about putting a man behind bars to get some sort of payday. A payday that, as we've looked into it, the majority of them are not receiving.
Here you go, Vito. So, Vito, you're wrong.
How many got settlements?
So here's one. Through the insurance company while he was put away, they got settlements. And Chloe
all
Goins...
60?
Dude, you're just stop. I'm trying to prove that there are some, so you got to do some more homework.
I admitted there are
Chloe
some. I just
Goins,
said it.
Chloe Goins
said that there were settlements.
Talked about this assault at the Playboy Mansion, and then Cosby says it was proven by the LA Police Department. I was not at the mansion on the date in question and was not in the state of California. He added from the cell the fact the woman's supposed friend confirmed she made up this story by denying they knew her and most importantly denying that they visited the mansion with her. Yet, here's what happened. The insurance company just paid her off. This shit happens, Vito. Here's one fact. Smack in your face.
It's not a smack in the face. I've admitted
I
that some
something?
women received settlements. What? I've admitted to this.
Vito?
But the majority of women, if the majority of women were motivated by financial motives, what are they, the dumbest women in the world? Because they ain't getting paid.
I'm just so confused. We've just proved you're like, well, why would these women lie? What's their? We had to get to this point. We just showed you that they are. So Shakaama clearly, Shakaama deserves a little bit more respect. He's clearly done this homework, and so I gotta assume he's not lying to us.
I've done my homework.
He's done the homework, and you didn't know that this woman was a liar. One of these accusers that was in there was lying.
Vito, can I say something to you?
Sure.
There's something called the Gomeshi trial. I don't know if is a Canadian.
I know the Gomeshi trial.
For the record,
yes.
remember that
guy,
remember that list?
Threw out the case because the women got together and corroborated their stories.
Absolutely.
And then went into...
There was proof of corroboration, which you have not given me.
They corroborated for
You're
60 women.
You're assuming things. You're assuming there was corroboration. You have no proof of this. You have no messages.
Time magazine photo shoot. What?
Showing up to a photo shoot. So before the photo shoot, did they all sit down and rub their hands together and go, "We got him. We got him."
Yeah.
Yes, there was a meeting. There was a meeting. I'm looking forward to you producing the evidence of that meeting.
Vito,
this is all speculation.
Vito,
you're speculating.
You are too. You are speculating. Wow, we just proved. Hold on. We just proved to you that one of them was lying and proven so. Yet here's here is the rap. Here is the rap. Here is the rap. Yes, okay. Here's the rap. Putting her in there and doesn't mention any of the stuff. Doesn't mention that she wasn't at the Playboy Mansion, et cetera, et cetera.
Based on whose testimony? Cosby's? Cosby says he wasn't at the Playboy Mansion? That's the evidence you're giving me?
The Los Angeles Police Department.
No.
That's who said it.
Give me the quote.
It was proven by the Los Angeles... It was proven... Oh, go away. It was proven by the Los Angeles Police Department. I was not there, and the date in question.
So Cosby
this
said
woman's
that.
supposed friend confirmed
so
she made up the story.
That.
Well,
so the LA Police Department didn't say that. That's hearsay. Here, I heard someone say that. That's hearsay. Give me a statement from the police department. Cosby saying, "I wasn't at my house. The police proved it." That's not evidence. That's hearsay. The police need to say it.
Hello. Here, I'm reading it to you. The DA said in early 2006 he would not be pursuing the case because of insufficient evidence to prove the matter beyond a reasonable doubt. The LAD submitted the Goins matter to LAPD DA and late August. So Goins sued her. Indications that Cosby wasn't at Hugh Hefner's house or even in the West Coast the night in question. The DA said in early 2006. You're so argumentative about everything we tell you when the reality is I just need another minute. No. This is Deadline. This is Deadline confirming it.
Deadline.
You're going to say that I know they make shit up, but come on, dude.
Give me the name of the. Give me
I
the
don't have
name
time
of
for
the
this
article
anymore.
real quick because I want to see. I want to read exactly.
I'm reading.
What
It's right in front of you. It's right in front of you.
It is.
Yes.
I don't have that window open. Okay.
It's right
Let's
there.
see.
This is what Cosby says.
Go to this thing because I didn't realize you had it open.
Oh
okay.
my God, dude! It's on screen
What,
for
'cause I don't know
everybody to
you
read.
have a window
It's on
open?
YouTube. It's on your shared screen. So here's the question he says.
No, go back.
I wasn't there.
Down.
And then the LAPD submitted the goings matter to Los Angeles County DA in late 2015 in the civil when they sued with indications that Cosby wasn't at Hugh Hefner's house or
Can
even.
you click on that in early 2016 real quick? I want to see.
Hold on, wasn't even in the night in question. The DA said in early 2016 that it would not be pursuing the case in part because of insufficient evidence. So here's yet another escapes criminal causes on 2. Dude, the point of the matter is, Vito, do more homework. We keep showing
I'm
you
doing
things,
the homework right now.
and you don't want to hear them. And the reality is, this is why this conversation is
asking you
important.
to show me the
because
evidence
the
right
media
now. What else
bias,
can I
the
do?
things you read don't tell you everything, and you're like, oh no, come on,
I don't want
they gotta be
evidence.
telling
I'm
the truth.
asking you to
And
show
then
me evidence
Here we
right
have
now.
someone on the show
Show me
who's
the
done
TS.
the homework,
Killing me.
and we don't even. We're
Killing
like,
me.
what does he know? Oh,
Vito, you don't want the
doesn't know
evidence.
Shit.
Can you click on that so I can get a little more evidence? Oh,
No,
you hate
you're
evidence.
being
You hate
difficult.
evidence.
You're
I'm
biased,
not
and you're being difficult.
I want.
I don't know the evidence, but my point is,
Cosby has a public
you are
date
telling. Yeah, you're
record.
telling us he didn't. He did it when you don't have the evidence either. You don't. You just have 60 women where we've now shown some of them haven't been honest, and it's like, well, the reality is we don't know. And as the headline said, he
And
could be
can
innocent.
I
is
prove
the
we live
reality.
in the Matrix or not? No. Okay, I can't prove
Oh,
anything
my God.
beyond a 100% of a doubt.
But neither did
But
the
when 60
but the
women
court
come
system
forward,
didn't either, did they?
I'm going to
Vito?
use a little bit of common sense.
How many
I'm gonna
were in the
think it
Gomeshi
through.
trial?
The Gomeshi trial had 3 accusers with text messages between them proving that they colluded
was more than 3.
to invent evidence. The 3 who went on the stand had texts between them inventing evidence. You do not have that in this case. You're telling me because they went to a photo shoot that you believe there was a secret meeting where they got together and planned this all out. You
Yes.
have no evidence of that.
But no, someone
This
just
is
said
not
it.
the Gomeshi
We have
case.
proven reasonable doubt. You have not proven any evidence, Vito, nor
And
has
what
the
is
court of law.
The reasonable doubt is not any amount of doubt.
Oh
reasonable
my
doubt
God.
is would a
The
reasonable
witness
person-
testimony is you're not a lawyer. Stop talking like you're a fucking
Witness
lawyer.
testimony is
Oh my
evidence.
God, telling me witness testimony doesn't mean it means more than this, and this does reasonable doubt means that. Oh my God, you're talking out of your ass like crazy
And
tonight.
if 60 people go into a box and they tell you there's a man with his pants around his ankles, but you don't
That's
see it
60
yourself,
people talking about one.
are they all
fact.
liars? Or is it
No.
possible?
You're trying to conflate
They're telling
60
the
people
truth.
talking about one fact versus 60 people talking about individual 60 facts. One person giving you a testimony of what happened is not proof of anything.
Correct.
It's their
I
word
think-
versus his word.
Especially Vito, when Gloria Allred or whoever is trying to make $100 million and putting it all over the media. Come on.
I'm going to say this, and it doesn't come from a place of hate. It's just how I feel. I think you guys fundamentally mistrust women. I think you fundamentally think women are liars and cheats.
Jesus.
And I think that is coloring your interpretation
This isn't
of this
best movie
case.
ever.
Wow.
No, Vito, you need to do more homework because you don't even know my own case of why I don't rush to believe women because
You
I
touched the
fucking,
clown, Andy.
I
We
fucking
all saw
lived
that
it.
clown crying.
You fucking moron. My God, we proved you kept at. Well, how do you know they lie? We proved to you basis. We proved to you doubt. You don't want to hear any of it
you can't
because you're
just say-
biased.
you can't
I
just
said
say,
in the beginning
"We
of the
proved
stream.
it."
I
You
said
proved
in the
nothing.
beginning of the
Oh,
stream.
my God.
I don't know if he did it, but I can't prove he did. You're trying to tell me he did it.
Dude, any court case, again, it's reasonable doubt. It's not, I was there and I saw it's happened. It's that evidence has been presented to me, and I have been convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that this thing happened. I don't have to have the smoking gun
And
in my
he's
hand.
not
I
in
can
jail,
go on the
Vito.
evidence I have.
He was
He's
taken
not
out
in
of jail.
because of the
He was taken out of jail
prosecutorial
because
misstep.
they
All
didn't
right.
have the evidence. Why would the DA make that deal in the first place, Vito?
Andy, I don't know why you
Why
don't
did the
bel- I
DA? Why did the DA
believe
make
all
that agreement in the
women.
first
Have a
place?
case.
Me too.
Vito, nice
I'm
try.
not-
You're ignoring the point.
Believe 'em
Why
all.
would the DA make such a point? Why would they make such a deal, Vito, if they had such a strong case?
I don't think they had a strong when in 2015.
Right.
Because
didn't
there
have a
weren't
case.
there weren't 60 accusers at that time. The accusers didn't come out till later. That's why they made the deal. They didn't have. Then 60 people came out and they went, "Oh my God! All this evidence! What a slam dunk!"
There is no evidence.
60
oh my
witness
God.
tests.
No, you
up.
keep
Stop.
saying. Oh my
Stop.
God! Oh my
Stop.
God!
My
Oh
blood
my
pressure.
God.
Disagree.
Oh
You're
my
a
God.
3.
I've muted you. You are pissing me off. You are pissing me off. Stop saying falsities. I will unmute you and let you respond, but holy shit, witness, a allegation is not proof. It's an allegation. That is not witness testimony. Stop saying it is. I've asked to unmute. You can speak, but stop saying that. That's fucking bullshit.
Shaka.
Yeah.
You're a 3-year law student.
Yeah.
Is witness testimony entered into law?
That
as evidence?
isn't witness testimony. I don't have to go to law school to tell you that.
Hold on. Are victim statements entered into evidence as evidence? Will a court accept a victim statement as a piece of evidence? Yes or no? This is a simple question.
Sure.
Well, there you go. It's evidence.
Yeah.
Victim testimony is evidence.
This isn't evidence, though.
What is an evidence? It's victim testimony. It was entered into the record. The court of the American law
Okay,
system.
Vito.
Go to
I already
Barbados.
told you.
If you don't like our law
so
system,
you're trying to prove
find
this
it.
point about witness testimony, but I told you they had proof she was lying. They had proof.
Of one
Nothing
woman.
happened. They had proof. So her testimony is a lie.
Okay, one woman.
And the DA is not supposed to put people on the stand who he knows is lying.
I'm not arguing if the prosecution did a good job. That's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about we have 60 victim statements in the American court system
man.
that is defined as evidence. If you guys disagree with it, take it to the Supreme Court.
In a normal case,
they have to be proven a victim before they're a victim, as Nicole says, Vito. That's why they're in trial and they're doing the case. Vito, I could go and say, Vito touched me. And then you're telling me it's evidence.
Hold on.
You're telling me it's evidence. Now, if I wanted to go to Shakaama, hey, Shakaama, did Vito touch you? He'd be like, oh, yeah, sure. Now you got 2 against you. And you just publicly admitted on YouTube, I want to burn this for you. You just said, if 60 women come forward, I did it. That was the dumbest thing you've ever said in your life. And you've said a lot of dumb things.
It has to be 60,
take that back. That is ridiculous.
No, I refuse. I'm
looking out for you, my man. I love you still.
I don't care.
Shit,
I want to be canceled. If 60 women hate
you're
going to
go to jail. It's not going to be canceled.
Good.
Oh my God.
If 60 women
you just gave all your trolls
much,
my God.
Don't say this,
to organize
Vito.
an insane conspiracy against me, fantastic. Then I've lived my life terribly.
You're raising
I don't know
my
what
blood
I
pressure.
did. I don't know what I did to these women. That 60 of them have come out.
Oh, you want to be canceled because 60 women want to be?
Yes.
Women are not given to logic.
Wait, women are not given. All right, we're done. Shaka, I love you. We've got it. Come on. Got to give me that one. Women are not given a logic. I'll take it. Thank you, Andy. Shaka, I've had a lot of fun.
Vito, I love you, Vito. Don't go surprise. If you hate Vito and you want to unsubscribe, then unsubscribe. But if you like what he's saying, go
find 60 women to bury me. I want you to do it.
No, I'm not going to do it.
I want it to happen.
I still love you, Vito.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
I can do that.
No.
Shaka, you know 60 women who I
know 100 women.
Vito doesn't have any money though.
So impressed. That's the thing. You got nothing. What are you gonna do? Take my Evangelion toys? They're not gonna line up.
He does have a lot of video games, so maybe.
They stole a guy's Legos. Do you think?
I love you guys.
Vito, go check out youtube.com/Vito. All right, that was fun. I got to give Vito props for sticking around doing that. Love you, Vito. All right, bye.
Love you guys.
Shakaama, we got more questions, and feel free to stick around if you want to stick around. You've been here a while, but I know if you need to bail, you can bail. But I want to thank you for dealing with him. I had your back a little bit there, though, but you handled yourself well, just enough. But give Vito respect. It's nice to have another point of view in here, even if he's wrong. But I want to get through some of these comments. And Bunda had one for you. In all seriousness, this whole conversation has got me thinking, does Shakaama like Batman v Superman? Have you seen Batman v Superman? What do you think of that movie?
Have not, and I don't think I want to because I do not believe that the whole hype of Batman beat Superman and I'm the only guy in the world who can beat you. That's ridiculous. It's like when in World of Warcraft when you a tiny little midget go and beat up a giant god.
Sure. All right. I love that he said no. He just totally kicked that movie to the curb. But
it's a narrative. It's a narrative. They're just doing a narrative.
I agree. Screw that movie. All right, guys. This was a fire show. If you tip, now's the time to tip your witchers, show your love and support for the stream because that was canceling myself having these talks. But hey, we gotta have the real talk. We can't be afraid of having some real talk on this platform. Or what the hell is the point? Look, I still stand by my point. I don't know, but Shakaama has opened my eyes to want to do more homework and to give more benefit of the doubt and look into this before I say any statements. And that's part of the reason why I try not to make broad statements or declarations until I've done the homework. And we all shouldn't, like Vito was doing. Vito was making statements without actually clearly doing enough of the homework. And I think that's where we as society make way too many mistakes. Look, you can have your opinion on Cosby. You don't have to support Cosby. We can't make you do that. That wasn't the point of the stream. The point was to open up our minds to say, maybe there's more information to this than we realized. I don't want to disrespect any of these women if something did happen to them. That's horrific and awful. The problem is, it took a little while. There's some motives here that are questionable, and we got to make sure we look at the whole picture. And again, it doesn't mean we shouldn't believe women. Women, if this happens, men too. If this happens to you, you got to speak up. You got to go do the proper things.
Can I say something?
Yeah, please.
You didn't get into this, and probably you're not going to see this, but there is a huge conspiracy that this was all a conspiracy against Cosby because of two things. One, they have oil on their property, and the Cosby property is huge. And they have gas on their property. One of the gas conglomerates tried to get the rights to his property, and Camille Cosby and Bill Cosby are advocates of Mother Earth and the Green Planet and all that sort of stuff. And they said no. And they started launching a campaign against them. The other conspiracy is that Cosby, who owns a bunch of radio stations, TV stations around the nation, wanted to buy NBC. And NBC, this is going to sound terrible. Everybody hold on to your hats. Put on your big boy pants. NBC said, we cannot believe that a black man has enough money to buy NBC. When did this happen? How did this happen? And so after his people put in a bid for NBC, which was up for sale, they came back and rejected it. And that's also a part of the conspiracy, which led to the death of his son, which is also another conspiracy, where they put a guy in jail, supposedly for the murder of his son, who actually was in Mexico at the time. So those are three conspiracies.
Hey, look, I love hearing conspiracy theories, but you guys do your work. Look them into it all you want. But hey, weirder shit's happened. I'm not going to say that's impossible. Shit goes down. I want to get your thoughts on Britney. I saw people. There's a lot of Britney news broke today, and you guys obviously, if you ship over super chats or whatever, we'll talk about anything else. If you got a question for Shakaama while he's here or me on this topic, I'm all ears. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. There was a couple I did. We got that from Nicole. I got Michael's. We're caught up. But I just finally got yours. Isaac James, I'm going to have to agree with Vito on this one. We'll see, Vito, if you're still watching. You had one supporter. Thank you, Isaac, for the support. You're allowed. Gallant, what's up, Parker? Gallant Productions, I sent you some amazing topics. Oh, good. We've been pretty good tonight, but I'll check it out. Thank you for sending those out. I'll check in a minute. And then Super Ultra Megasonic. The opportunity to get money is enough to make people come out falsely, but that doesn't mean they all got money afterwards. But not getting the money doesn't mean it is suddenly true. It's totally true. I appreciate that super chat, Super Ultra Megasonic. You are right. At the same time, I don't want this channel or this show to be a sort of like, oh, women are liars, we shouldn't believe them, they're all just out for money. That's also not true. We have to make sure we do our homework and hear the story out and make sure, did they follow things to sort of make, is it true, are things we have to ask too. But well said. Myra also said, if you want a lawyer perspective on the Cosby case, watch Nate the Lawyer and Emily D. Baker. They do great breakdowns on it. They were also ex-prosecutors. All right, good. There you go. Nate the Lawyer, Emily D. Baker. Tips from Myra of other people to catch it. And then Muddit. What's up, Muddit? Andy, when will you talk about... He almost had me. Muddit always tries to pay to get me to say something embarrassing, Ron Burgundy style in the chat. When will I talk about IREC? Shun. Get it? Did you see that? I'm surprised you aren't talking about this growing case. It's splurging all over the internet. Nice try, Muddit. I love you, though. Keep it coming. Almost had me. The first word was just too weird, and now I see you got to come up with a fake name because now I see Muddit, and I'm looking for the fake name. You got to find another clever way to get in there. But I appreciate the support. Thank you for keeping it in. You guys send over the support as you can. That's what keeps these channels going. Go support my man, Shakaama. Here's his YouTube channel again. Let's make sure we plug him some more. If you guys want to go subscribe over there, you can. Here's the link. Mods, feel free to send that out there as well. If you want to subscribe to Shakaama and see some more of his Cosby takes and other stuff he breaks down, go show him some love on YouTube. You can also find him on Twitter at Shakaama if you want to follow him and get keep him on your timeline. Shakaama, have you been following this Britney case? Have you seen the Britney Spears stuff?
I did follow a little bit. I did take a look at it because it was all over Twitter.
It is all over Twitter. Did you get a chance to catch the audio by chance of Britney finally sort of speaking up and trying to get out of it?
No, I looked up the law. I'm a nerd. Sorry.
Oh, no worry. I saw some people want to talk about it, and I've been covering it. I want to make sure we just touched upon it a bit. But
do you have the audio? Can you play the audio?
No,
legally?
It's like a half hour. I'm not gonna. But it's
Oh.
anyway, the cliff notes is that she's acknowledged that she's finally come forward and said that she's miserable. They're controlling every part of her life. Her dad's a monster. They're keeping her from reproducing and marrying. Awful stuff. It sounds and seems coming from Britney. And just recently, the judge denied her request to remove her father as conservator, which surprised a lot of people. But we had two lawyers on this morning do a video sort of breaking down that was sort of expected in a way. But
That's
now,
California law.
Yeah. But now there is new law. I'm trying to find. There was a new take. Sorry, there was new news where the conservator that's in charge is apparently now leaving. The conservator who has been fighting back and forth, they're now stepping out of it. Is the latest. The story is just getting wild, and now they're like, we want nothing to do with this. So here it is. The co-conservator of the Britney Spears estate has requested to resign. One day after Superior Court Judge Brenda Penny ordered the Bessemer Trust co-conservator of the estate, the wealth manager firm has asked to resign. The court documents obtained by CNN Bessemer Trust cited changing circumstances following Spears' explosive testimony. Conservative TV claimed it's irreparable harm to her interests in her testimony, and more specifically, the conservatives' objection and the continuation of the voluntary conservatorship and her desire to terminate the conservatorship. So the petitioner has heard the conservatee and respects her wishes. So now the conservatorship who's sort of trying to manage the money and be involved, they're like, F this, we're dipping out of here. We don't want to be involved in this drama. Clearly some shit's about to go down. So I found that kind of fascinating. This story is only going to keep getting crazier and crazier, if you ask me. So we'll see what happens. But do you have any insight on sort of this conservatorship? It was interesting because one of the lawyers sort of said, look, we don't know how sick she is. She really may not be able to have a mental capacity to sort of take care of herself and may be susceptible to do things that would ruin herself and her businesses. But I'm still sort of at the school of well, if she's really that far off, why do you keep making her work? Shouldn't she have made enough money where she can just go do what she wants and live off in her little mansion and they can just make sure she's okay?
Right.
I have this problem with that idea because it's all right, maybe there is more we don't know for sure. Maybe there's some disorders and things that we shouldn't know and they're trying to protect her. However, why are you working her so hard then? You know what I mean? Is where I'm at. Do you have any thoughts on that or this issue in general?
Yeah. So I remember I made the statement that I have 4 years of psychology under my belt.
Yep.
We don't know if we have an actual case of somebody with an actual mental illness or some sort of mental issue, or if the environment is so toxic, as she said, that is actually contributing to the mental state that she's in. Could there be a possibility where if we remove these people, she turns into a wonderful human being and a lovely woman and doesn't marry people like whatever his name is?
Correct, right.
And also, I was thinking she's rich enough she can move to a state that doesn't have such laws. Also, and
interesting. So she could, but wouldn't the conservatorship forbid her from moving? Is there actually a situation where she could just say "F it," move, and then they have no say over it?
She could, she could kidnap herself.
So but you're saying legally, from your experience, that is actually reality. Like she's in Maui right now. She could just like not come back.
Right.
Interesting. And then they can't. You're saying at that point, if she's out of the state, I can't say the word. They can't do anything about it.
Okay, so the states operate on a couple of things. So driver's license are observed state to state. Marriages are observed in most states. So a lot of people who man to man marry each other, some states do not recognize that. There's very few things where the state recognizes the same exact thing in the state. So this is one of those things I don't believe carries over from state to state. She could move to one of those states and very easily, but just instantly go, okay, I declare myself completely independent and blah, blah, blah. There you go.
Well, that's interesting. It seems that, and that's the one thing I want to echo. And I'm curious your guys' thoughts on this whole topic. Or are you paying attention to us? Or you're like, Andy, why do you, it's doing really well for me. So I'm passionate about it, so I'm going to keep talking about it. But what's so crazy to me is this sort of idea that she even admitted she didn't know she could change her own lawyer. But the fact that she hasn't been able to have her own proper legal counsel to advise her on what she really wants and make sure it's her best interests.
I immediately said that as soon as I saw the whole thing. I said,
crazy.
She has a terrible lawyer.
Right. So, and she clearly still does. And the reality is I'm shocked someone hasn't figured out a way to get a hold of her or through her people or something. I guess I don't know how you do it, but you'd think someone she would try to like make a couple calls to say, hey, am I allowed to do this?
The bar is a very crazy thing. The legal bar, the license to be a lawyer. The bar is a crazy thing. It's basically a conspiracy, and you could, just like we saw in the Trump cases where Trump was bringing lawsuits to sue and try and get the vote, a conspiracy going, and the judges kept disbarring it, and people were coming against the lawyers actually representing Trump. That's how it is. It's a conspiracy, and people could literally be like, I'm a lawyer, she's getting shafted, but I'm not going to go and talk to her and offer my services because the bar would just come against me.
Interesting. Because she's already got a lawyer or whatever, there's reasons why they may say, I'm not touching that case.
Right.
Ugh, it's fucking crazy. Yeah, I just feel for her because it just feels like she is not getting proper counsel. Like they're clearly there's parts of that thing that clearly aren't right. And even her dad has now had to come forward and admit that. Well, shit, she said all this stuff. We have to do some investigating. But yeah, the fact that they continue to work her so much to me is the biggest problem of like, well, then you can't have it both ways. She can't be stable enough to keep working and fund you all. But
right.
Not stable enough to be able to do her own life. Like, look, even if she were an idiot and stupid and is going to fuck up her finances and her career, I mean, doesn't she have the right to fucking do that? Like, no one's stopping other celebrities from fucking up their life or being on Twitter or running for president, doing half the crazy shit.
As in all things, what they should be teaching everybody in school. As in all things, you do not have rights. You have the ability to hire a lawyer to enforce your rights against governments, cities, states, what have you. And that's it. You don't actually have rights. You have the power to enforce your right against police, mayors, what have you. That's it. You have to enforce them.
Fucking true. Depressing and true. Thank you, Obo. Appreciate your support.
Buy that for $1.
Obo sent over a super chat. Some women lying doesn't prove innocence. 60 different accusations require multiple investigations, and anyone can cry conspiracy. It means nothing. All right. Well, Obo, thank you for sending that over. Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's true. We don't know is the reality of this. But even your comments are saying, look, we don't know. Just because it doesn't cry innocence doesn't also prove guilty. But I appreciate the support. Thank you for sending that over. So regarding Brittany, there's clearly going to be more to this. Do you think she'll get out of this? I mean, do you think that this is going to eventually just become? Can a judge or a lawyer just ultimately say, you know what, we're cutting this? If she makes big enough stink, like, can they do that?
Does she have that wherewithal? Does she have that passion? Does she have that? Do you see that?
I mean, the last thing she said, it seemed to be the first time she realized she could do it and got away with it. So yeah, I mean, it feels like she finally is sort of getting slightly empowered to do it. And she definitely has a support out there on social media and in the news. Everyone's rallying against her. If she really wanted to create a fight and start doing more public pleas for attention or help me, I would think she could do it.
You want to hear something funny?
Always.
So I come from a very traditional family. I don't know if you know what that means. I have gotten out of 5 arranged marriages. My relationship with women is as such that I expect somebody over here to come and introduce a woman over here. Now, logically, for all of you all, that seems foreign and you would never even think of that. But that's my sort of realm of how I operate. Can I get out of that? Sure. Logically, I could walk out of my house, walk down the street and be like, hi, how are you doing? I'm Shaka. Want to date me? You know, it would be weird.
that might be weird. Sure. You could do it better, but
but that's, yeah, I'm in this thing and I'm much older than a teenager, you know, who, you know, that should not be, but that's my reality. Her reality is what? What is her reality? She's
right.
Discovered she can hire a lawyer. Is that her reality, though?
Right. Is she? And the truth is, she's been stuck in this conservatorship in this world idea where she doesn't know what she can do. The reality is she really capable to be let go into the real world again? You know, it does feel like there should be some sort of tiered system where it's like, here's your therapist, here's your accountant, and your lawyer. They're going to be your sort of new team members to help you out, whatever. That you'd think there'd be some sort of still someone out there to help her, but she could start making decisions for herself or going out and doing what she wants and driving with her boyfriend and not having to get permission for everything. I would think that's what she probably wants. But I agree, there's probably some level of like, hey, I like the thing being run for me. She doesn't know how to run the thing. And there's probably a middle ground that she needs to get to. But the other thing is, like, she's not going to be able to learn how to fail unless she gets the chance to fail, right? We had to teach all of our kids. You got to send them out the nest at some point to learn the ways of the world and fuck up a few times. I had to fuck up so many times before I learned the ways of how to be better. But don't you think she needs that too? Even if she is 39, still an opportunity to let her figure out.
Correct me if I'm correct. She's a Disney child, right? So this has been, which I believe means that she had people controlling her from what, 12?
Yes. Yeah, her mom took her out to do stuff, and hit me baby one more time. She was very young, from Mickey Mouse Club, and then going around trying to get gigs, touring malls. The Framing Britney documentary is actually pretty great. It gives you a breakdown of all of it and how the media sort of treated her and the breakdown she had about her kids being taken away. Look, she's been through a lot, but she's still able to put together tours and run concerts and make music and produce the albums. Like, it does seem like there's enough going on there that they're able to keep her working. So to me, if she's unhappy and she wants to take the chance, at a certain point, you got to say, like, well, look, that's her right as a human being. to the fact that the government, I mean, this is why this story is so passionate to me. The fact, and this happens, guys, the fact that the government can just keep you under lock and key to make any sort of personal or financial choices, and you're with the government, but they are the court, the legal system, and then the people they deemed okay. It's fucking scary. I mean, it's that, and my buddy Jeff was reminding me, I don't know if you guys remember that Netflix movie, I Care a Lot, with Rosamund Pike, but it's that. She was like basically swindled these old people to sort of give up some money to hire her, and then she pays off people to sort of put them under, medical care, and then they're basically like vegetables put in like retirement homes that no one can save, and then she basically bleeds them of their money over the course of a while. And that shit does really happen in real life. So it's a fucking crazy world we live in. I just, the fact that she's come forward so passionately to say, I want out, I'm unhappy. At a certain point, it's like, all right, look, she may not be stable. I don't know what it is. It's none of my business, but she wants out. It's time to let her out then. Like, figure out a way to start phasing it out. And
well, she's going to need, like me, she's going to need somebody to come in and teach her life skills. Right. Every day I say I am a failure as an adult and as a human being because I lived in a cocoon. I grew up in a cocoon. If you can imagine, I have arranged marriages. You can imagine the rest of my life was controlled.
Gotcha.
So she doesn't know what she doesn't know.
Right.
So she needs somebody to come in and say, okay, here you go. Here's how you wash the dishes. Here's how you clean up.
Right. I think she's done those, but yeah, there's, big life grown up things she has to learn. And then how do you ensure the person who's teaching her has her best interests and not just to get paid? It's a scary place. It's it's nice to be celebrity, but the reality is there's a lot of people bleeding you dry and everybody wants something from you. They want to exploit you and use you for their own personal gain. So it's hard to find someone. But it seemed like she had some in her life. There was a woman who was her manager or her handler who used to grow up with her. It does feel like there's ways to figure it out. I hope someone does. I'm rooting for her because that's why I do those stories. So I want to have her back and make sure she's okay because it doesn't seem like she is. But the legalities of it all it's fucking crazy. The other thing I wanted to talk about as we go through stuff, and you guys can pivot us also if you have topics. So now I'm just catching up. Chasing Cosby podcast. What is that? Joshua sent me. I don't know what that is, Joshua. I'm getting a lot of messages. Oh my God, this Cosby stream is the best I've ever seen. Bam, bam. Thank you for all that. Sorry, going through, catching up because I haven't looked in what you guys have been sending me, etc. Okay, sorry, bear with me. Bunda, thank you, Bunda. Appreciate that. Anybody else want to help pivot?
Buy that for $1.
As we pivot to these topics. Bunda says, can you ask Shakaama what he thinks about the Michael Jackson situation? The HBO docu came out 2 to 3 years ago. What do you think about Finding Neverland and the Michael Jackson case?
Well, I actually did research into this, and I believe I did a video about this. But I also watched a whole bunch about this, and I also watched other documentaries even before that came out. So you have a situation almost like Britney Spears, but it's Michael Jackson, where you have a family that controlled this guy since he was 5 years old, and he had a talent for singing and dancing and entertaining, and he was the star of the show all the way from the Jackson 5 all the way up into his solo career. Unlike Britney, he does have some sort of wherewithal to live by himself. So he has Neverland Ranch, and he knows how to invest. He knows how to buy properties. He bought the Beatles. Their entire library, which they believe is the cause of all of the mess that got started. Because you have a black man owning the richest library in the entire world. And he's Michael Jackson. He owns his own library too. And he is a producer and all this sort of stuff. Now, what he is not is a person who knows everyday stuff. He doesn't know social interactions. He has people when he walks by cry and faint. So I lived overseas, and I had people when I came out cheer. It it is a weird situation, and I've been famous for a brief 15 minutes. It is a weird situation to live a life where the sight of you causes people to cheer. That's level one. This guy had people fainting and crying and falling out. That does something to the psyche. Okay, so he doesn't have any, I don't believe, any social skills whatsoever. I believe all of his marriages were arranged. And as far as the allegations go, which is the crux of that documentary, right? The 5 boys stood up in open court and said nothing happened, right? 2 of the boys, what's the word I want to use?
The R word?
No. 2 of the boys left suicide notes saying, "You caused me to accuse the greatest hero in my life." Now, the guy who did the actual documentary got firsthand, face-to-face ability to talk to Michael Jackson, which he said was, then he was, that was in the first documentary. This last one was just trying to, clickbait everybody into watching the documentary. I don't believe anything happened. Jackson talked about conspiracies. Jackson talked about people surrounding him who did not have his best interest at heart. Sort of like Britney Spears. And that's all I know of it.
Do you think so? Yeah, I mean, do you think he's innocent, or you just don't? You're not commenting because you haven't done enough of your own research.
Well, yeah, I believe he's completely innocent.
Okay, yeah, I do too.
I believe the boys stood up and said nothing happened. Michael Jackson, if it was a woman, it would be a diagnosis that the woman never grew up, and you could see it because the woman would have a very high-pitched voice. It comes out in women like that. So they sound, if you ever run into a woman who has a very high-pitched voice and she sounds like a child, just ask her, did you grow up with a father? Were you abused? And 99% of the time she's going to say yes. That's what happened. The family has a history of abuse, has a history of doing stuff to the children, and I believe, what was it? The ones that admitted it don't have a career, and the ones that denied it all have a career. What was it? Jermaine Jackson has a career. What's her name? The younger sister has a career.
Janet.
The oldest sister does not have a career, and she said, I didn't see it because I wasn't there. All of this happened after I left the house. What happened to me? Why wasn't I good enough? She was very upset. But the other one sister who doesn't have a career, she's not Janet Jackson. She's the other one. She doesn't have a career. She admitted something happened too.
LaToya.
Is it LaToya?
I don't remember. I mean, LaToya, I think, did speak not positively. I think
Right.
Janet did, and LaToya didn't. I think Janet was the youngest.
Yeah, Janet Young is the youngest, but she denied anything.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's so much work you guys can do on that. If you don't, I always thought it was, and I remember it was the Martin Bashir documentary. Who Martin Bashir is now being proven to be a complete scumbag. But Martin Bashir it was that interview that was really sort of where I was like, oh, this is weird. But the more I did it, and I actually have interviewed his nephew, Taj Jackson has been on my channel. He's a real big advocate and has been fighting for it, and not just because he's his nephew, but if you really do the homework and listen to Taj and ask him the questions, Taj isn't afraid of anything. He'll answer it all. And I pointedly asked him about those sleepovers and things, and he was very adamant, yeah, look, the media doesn't try to explain it. First off, when we say his bed, Michael Jackson's bedroom, that room was like an arcade amusement park. They were all just partying and hanging out in that place, there was nothing sexual in those rooms. He's like, it sounds weird when it comes out sort of the way it did, but that wasn't what it was. And Martin Bashir also, there was a lot. The way the documentary was presented, Martin Bashir in the moments was very supportive of how great Michael was a father and so much stuff, because Michael filmed the interviews himself as well, and because he had a guy filming because he didn't trust anybody. And then the way Martin Bashir edited it was all very sinister, changed all the voiceovers to be negative and make Michael was a horrible father. And we did all complete bullshit that Michael was able to dispute at the time because he had filmed it all and showed this was all biased reporting on Martin Bashir's point to make it about the negative, crazy shit. And when Martin Bashir was just really hammering on that bed scene, was it weird? Sure, it sounds weird and crazy, but he made it so much more nefarious and malicious that I really think that was where everyone really lost it, and believed it. But the reality is, you got to remember from history too, it wasn't that long ago, when he died, he was a legend. People respected it, and everything else we'd sort of moved on from because he wasn't ever charged. The FBI had every fucking opportunity to nail him. It was so open, he was so exposed, literally exposed as much as you can get, and they couldn't do it. No one came forward. They had no evidence or proof for people. They were all bullshit, all parents who were just trying to get paydays. That was proven. And he put himself out there. If those genitals, things had matched, dude would be behind bars. It clearly wasn't. And he did it. He showed it and made it all out there. So I think it's really unfair. As history proved, we all respected him, and when he died, all was that. And then finally, after he dies, two shitheads who had already said nothing happened come out and from directly from the family are notorious assholes who were lying and just fame seeking the whole time, come out, make that documentary with a filmmaker who clearly didn't want to tell a true story, wanted to do another nefarious Martin Bashir type of documentary. And now Oprah, who's a fucking snake, Oprah and everybody else, and he's out there trying to win awards and condemn him after he's dead and can't defend himself. And honestly, I think it's fucked up. I think it's super fucked up. And even when I had Taj on, I had close people to me who were like, Andy, you just got canceled. You're coming back. Don't do the Michael Jackson story. That's so dangerous. And I was like, no, fuck this. That's the whole point of what I went through to finally open up and have the conversations, because when you do, and you do the homework and don't just let the fucking media tell you what the fucking's going on, you really learn shit. There's way more complicated shit out there. So, yeah, look, if you guys go do the homework, Michael Jackson, it's depressing what they're doing to him and his family. Let the poor man rest in peace. I'm never stopping playing his music. The fact that they canceled his Simpson episode, it makes me so sad. That was a fucking brilliant episode of The Simpsons where he played Lionel Kapowski in the prison with Homer. And it's gone. It's been erased from Disney Plus. I have it on DVD, thank God. But it's been erased because they don't want to be associated with him. That's fucking disgusting, don't you think? It's fucking sad.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Anyway. R. Kelly? No, I'm not going to be respectful about R. Kelly. Sorry, but not everyone's innocent. R. Kelly, I don't know. Marilyn Manson's another one where it's I don't want to say anything because I haven't done enough homework. But more and more keeps piling up. And I've had some people who are like, you should look into that some more. I don't know. I don't know enough about that one. But R. Kelly, yeah, I'm not touching that one. That dude. That dude seems a little sketchy. But anyway,
I have information about R. Kelly if you want it.
Good or bad? Is he innocent or guilty?
Oh no, he's guilty, but what do you say? Innocent by reason of he doesn't have a brain. he can't read. He has no education. He's told what to do. He's told what things mean. But he can sing. He's used. Now he said that the young girl in question looked old enough and said she was old enough.
So you think he probably did it, but he was so dumb he didn't even realize what he was doing, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I believe. What was it? Dave Chappelle, some other black actors and black people came out and said, "You all don't know him. He's not.
There.
He's not all there.
Jesus.
You all just see him singing. You all just see him acting around. That's all you see. The real person is not." It would be a travesty. Is he in jail?
Did he get to jail? I mean, there was a lot. Anyway, I don't know enough about it either. I don't want to get into trouble with saying things. But I'm not going to support him for damn sure. But I'm also not going to sit here and defend him. So
Lawyer talk.
He's guilty, but
he's guilty. I mean, yeah, he's guilty. There's no. I talk to lawyers, and if you knew how they actually talk to each other, it's funny. Which when I hear stuff on TV about cases, stuff like Cosby and all that other stuff, I cannot believe they come on TV and say the stuff that they do. That tells me that there's somebody telling them, "Here's what I want you to say. I know you're the lawyer, but here's what I want you to say." And they do it. I don't know why. National attention, fame, I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. I'm trying to find a couple of topics I'm going to get to quickly, but as for I'm not going to get into R. Kelly. I'm just, if you haven't noticed, I'm changing the subject. I'm not going to sit here and defend R. Kelly.
No, I said he's guilty.
From what I've heard.
I don't think there's any defense for it.
I love this, actually. This is more nerd talk. Someone just sent me this. Wait, hold on. Where is it? There we go.
You had a whole bunch of topics on your Twitter account.
Let's see here. This is more of a Marvel news, guys. This is funny. Kevin Feige just threw shade at Alfred Molina, who's Doc Ock, who totally just ruined Spider-Man for everybody. And so apparently on the red carpet they asked about what could be next for Louis Dreyfus after Falcon and Winter Soldier. Feige quipped, "You should ask Alfred Molina." Jesus. Doc Ock found himself in the middle of a firestorm when he revealed how he comes into play during Spider-Man Far From Home. Tom Holland's next adventure doesn't pick up until this winter, but Molina felt like he could spill some of the beans. He didn't leak the ending or anything like that, but fans were still shocked. Such an important
Tom
plot
Holland
point
didn't ruin it?
Exactly. Sounds like Feige can have some fun with a less optimal situation, but you might not see Dr. Octopus in any more movies. Yeah, it was kind of amazing. Alfred Molina is just older, legendary actor who they clearly needed to bring back. And he just clearly didn't care about the Disney note that it's like, don't reveal this shit. And I think that's a fair quip. You should ask Alfred Molina. It's nice to hear Kevin Feige admit, yeah, he fucked us up. And now it's made it. But I mean, I did too. So Kevin Feige must hate me. But anyway, I found that amusing. Thank you for sending me that. Who sent me that on Twitter? Someone sent me that. It was.
I'm shocked.
Thank you for that, Jacob, for saying that in my DMs. What was I trying to say? All right, there was another question. Sorry, there was another link I was going to. Amber Heard had a baby, guys. Jesus.
Amber Heard?
Do you follow the Johnny Depp case? Amber Heard. The Johnny Depp case is one you should get into. Johnny Depp is innocent. Amber Heard is a monster. And,
I follow the Johnny Depp part of it.
But yeah, so Amber Heard just had a baby. And,
but with who?
She's a surrogate. She had a surrogate, and she decided she's making it a whole PR play. And she's trying to change the narrative, I think, personally. Hold on, let me...
I had a girlfriend like that.
She's getting so much press as you look at her.
Anytime I tried to choose a girl as a girlfriend, it ended up weird like that.
Here it is. Look, Amber Heard's secretly welcomed daughter named Una. Well, it's such a weird name. I want to do it on my own terms. People. Amber Heard welcomes first baby, daughter Una. She's the beginning of the rest of my life. Amber Heard secretly welcomes baby girl. Look, it's all this. Guys, I'm sorry. I hate to be the guy who's like trying to crap on a new baby girl, but this woman's crazy. This woman's crazy, and she knew exactly what she was doing. She knew exactly what she's doing. If she really didn't want the press cycle, Don't reveal it. It's no one's freaking business. You don't have to say shit. But of course she leaked this to sources. And she made it announced on Instagram at the same time sources leaked this information. But man, this bugs me, man. This bugs me. Baby seems cute. I hope she does change. But man, what do you guys think in the chat? What do you think Amber Heard can fix herself? Maybe a baby will solve things, or do you think she'll get bored of that? Do you hate Amber Heard as much as we do, Shakaama? What do you think?
I'm pretty sure I do. Like I said, I've had girlfriends like that. So when I started going over the case about her and Johnny Depp, I was like, oh, this feels really familiar. Oh, really gross.
Yeah, and there's all this talk about Elon Musk froze her eggs or something. There's a lot of weird conspiracy theories and things going around that I just don't know. But is it Elon Musk's baby? Dude, it's just sad. It's sad she's using this for press opportunities right now because she's getting so much bad press for Aquaman 2. Guys, I'm sorry, but it's complete optics.
I thought they removed her from Aquaman.
No, she's in it. She's official. It's in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's still in it. But she's getting a lot of, anytime she does a social media post, she has to turn off comments because she gets trending for being bashed. Muddit, what's up? Muddit says that name sounds like a giraffe giving birth. Sad. Yeah, look, I don't want to bash the baby. I'm not going to bash the baby. That baby's adorable. I wish the baby the best and health and success and everything. But yeah, Amber, what are you doing? Una is a terrible name. It's just going to get the baby made fun of all the time. Unag. It's Celtic, I think somebody told me. Unag. Yeah, I'm sorry. I did a whole piece on Hugging the Cactus. If you guys haven't watched it, go check it out over there. I'm going to try and post more videos over there because YouTube only lets you post 3 videos a day. Three videos within 24 hours, I've learned. And I think that's part of the reason why my videos have not been always triggering, because I sometimes post 3, sometimes 4, but now I'm going to only do 3 a day on Popcorn Planet. But sometimes I'm posting them too quickly because I posted one late. And then the reality is I've been found out you don't get the notifications as much because sometimes I'm posting them at a certain part of the day and it's not within the 24-hour window. So it's a legit thing where if you post a video more than 3 times in 24 hours, they don't notify the subscribers. So I've realized that could be part of the problem I'm having. So I'm going to try and be more careful in my uploads. And I'm going to use Hugging the Cactus to sort of send some other topics and things like this where I get to do some rants and raves about tough topics and whatever I want. So make sure you're subscribed over there as well because I'm going to start trying to do double dip and do more and see where things reach out. So I just wanted to give you guys a channel update while we're here. But yeah, look, I went on a whole rant about this one because it broke and I already posted 2 videos and I wanted this stream to get alerted. Live streams count. So I do 2 and in the live streams that was 3. But now I can't post because I did this at 9. I can't post my 3rd video tomorrow until fucking 9, which is ridiculous. But it's Friday. I never do 3 videos on Friday because Friday sucks. But anyway, back to my rant. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't buy this as real. I buy she did this as a PR play. She knew it. Now, does she love her baby? I'm sure. I'm sure she will love her baby, and she's taking this jab, shaking her head. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm right, and that's not the case. But she's a bit of a narcissist, and this could be problematic for the baby. The nannies.
Look at Kanye and what's her name?
Her nannies and her team will probably raise the baby, if we're being honest. But hopefully I'm wrong. This is like such a professionally shot photo too. Like it's all so orchestrated. This isn't like here's a cute little shot or I guess it leaked. No, this was all orchestrated to tell you I have a baby, I'm a mother, I have fertility problems. Leave me alone. Stop making fun of me and stop being mean to me is really what this to me was. So Amber just proving more and more to be just I'm not a fan. Not a fan. But there you go. Did Elon have a kid too? Did he? I guess so. Yeah, with what's her name? Grimes? I guess they didn't they? Yeah, Grimes was pregnant. But what do you guys think? Do you think that's is that scary? Scary for Amber Heard's child? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Anything else as we're wrapping things up, Shakaama? Anything else you've seen out there that you wanted to mention? Is there another topic or story out there that you're passionate about that we should be looking into?
The final divorce of Kanye.
Oh yeah, how's that? I haven't checked that. Is there anything up to date on that?
Oh no, you're the guy. I thought you would know all about that.
Oh no, I don't. We've reported on it, but I haven't gotten as deep into that one. But I imagine that divorce is going to be insane. Although they each have so much money, you'd think that would be almost more amicable. The kids' custody and stuff will be probably more problematic. But I don't want to get it. Custody battles, divorce hearings. That shit's never fun. That's so personal and it gets so ugly. Jeremy Renner was going through some awful shit when his divorce was happening. People say the worst shit when custody's up first. So I never take that shit seriously. I mean, don't you agree? You're not a lawyer, but you're a law student. Divorces get ugly. It's hard to sort of take that shit seriously, don't you think?
I have a secret. All that divorce stuff is brought on by lawyers.
Of course, no doubt.
All of it. Yeah, all of it.
They with some of it's still anger from the clients, and the lawyers inflate it and keep it going and fight harder and take all the money. Absolutely, but there's still real anger.
I've had several women tell me, my lawyer came to me and said, you should do this and this and this and this and this. And she's like, what? That would make me a monster. I don't want to destroy the guy. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Many women said that.
It's true. It's so fucking true. If you can avoid that, mediators can do a lot of the work for you, and that's what most lawyers do anyway. I mean, judges will sort of reiterate it too anyway, but the lawyers just want to make more conflict, make more, suffering. Sometimes, though, couples just don't want to talk, is the reality. So, and some people don't want to lose percentages, and they want more percentages, and lawyers will tell you that.
Prenups don't work.
Yeah, prenups don't work. In California, man, it's really brutal. You have to pay spousal support for life. Shit gets crazy. But yeah, I don't know enough of what's happening, but I'd be shocked if those babies aren't being raised by nannies anyway. You know what I mean? So that's usually what happens in those celebrity houses. The babies.
I was raised by a nanny. I'm okay.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It's even crazier. I knew some famous nannies, and I knew some famous people. I'm not going to name names, but they refer to those nannies a lot. And show up when need to, and take them out for photo ops. A lot of times, it's sad, and then just buy them shit. Hollywood ones, Hollywood nannies, etc. It's pretty intense. But hey, use your money, whatever. All right, as we're winding things down, thank you to everybody who subscribed and joined tonight. This was a fire stream. I appreciate all the support that you guys sent over. Thanks to everybody as we do it. Shakaama, so great to meet you, my man. I hope you had fun. This was a wonderful conversation. We do this a lot. Happy to have you back again if there's a topic that makes sense. Happy to come on yours anytime, help promote if it helps you. But any final words you want to offer the stream or any plugs you want to
do? No, just my channel, and I followed this Cosby case for years, and it destroyed my channel because YouTube does not like this at all. Mm-hmm. And when I finally heard that he was freed, I cried because I fight for justice. I really fight for justice, and I think this was the most unjust case in the history of the entire country. I think is that important, and I think it meant that much to everybody. They just don't know the scope of it. When you read the Supreme Court opinion, you see that the Supreme Court agrees with me and thinks that this was the case for settling rights of people going to trial and criminality and all that sort of stuff. And that's it. There you go.
Well, look, man, good for you. You were right, and you got it out there. And if you have another case like this or something out there where you're seeking justice and you're like, this isn't being told, please hit me up. I will help get the word out there for you. I'm always looking for stories like that to tell. I
also do YouTubers.
Yeah, well, again, let me know and tell me what you got. If you got a story you need signaling boosting, we're happy to have you on because the algorithm screws us all, but we got to keep fighting back. So I'm grateful to have you on to open my eyes to some of this insight. I'm sure I'm going to get flack just for having this on. Oh, my God, Andy. Of course Andy thinks Bill Cosby's innocent. I can't wait for it, but fuck it, I don't give a shit anymore. The reality is, and I think a lot of people in the stream were hearing it too, look, we got to... we got to hear things out. Got to make sure we do our homework. I had my own preconceived thoughts and bias. Clearly, the media did turn it about. I'm still not fully sold on the man, so to support him fully. But
he had evidence that he was in it.
But at the end of the day, it doesn't seem like this was a fair trial, and that's what really matters most. And that's even Vito agreed. We all agreed on that. At the end of the day, we can't let that be our emotional reactions sway us from what the real reality is. If someone makes a plea deal with a lawyer, that's got to be held. And the fact that it wasn't, do you think some of these lawyers and DAs and people are going to get fucked for it? Can it go up? Can anyone be punished for sort of allowing this to happen, do you think?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to tell you. This particular county was investigated by the FBI, and I tried to make video after video alerting the FBI about it. They were all summarily brought to trial and sentenced and thrown in jail. Former DAs, judges, county lawyers, the whole kit and caboodle. I think like 100 people were in this particular county, this same county.
Really?
So,
for other previous cases, not this one.
No, not this.
Not
so these
you
lawyers.
Think now that this has come forward, the Supreme Court's like, whoa. Do you think this will, people associated with the Cosby trial, the previous one, do you think they could get dinged for this?
I have been trying to alert the FBI, and I hope the FBI goes back and says, oh, what county is that? Oh, this county. Okay, let's go back and take a look. Because they did a lot of illegal stuff. A lot. Not like openly and brazenly.
Ugh, that's so wrong. And this shit happens so much, especially to people who aren't famous. And especially black individuals. It's happening. The system is just so rigged and awful for so many people who are just in prison for no reason or for stupid shit. And they don't have the Cosby money or the ability to take it to this level to actually get it taken seriously. So I understand why this is a big deal. It's a frustrating deal because a lot of people are just not going to ever accept it. They're all out there sort of, nah, he's this. And they're all sort of ignoring the fact of like, we have to stand for the justice system and what it is. It's not that it is corrupt too. Let's not be, there are definitely parts of it that are corrupt, but this ruling actually fights against the corruption is what I think a lot of people are going to refuse to see. And that's the most, I think, important takeaway of this stream, regardless of your thoughts on Cosby. There's a lot of like, the system's so corrupt for letting him go. No, they were corrupt in actually charging him because they didn't follow through and do the law correctly. And now we are going back to check our work and realizing, whoa, you weren't allowed to do that. And it's very important that they're not allowed to do that because if we start suddenly taking away plea deals, it's going to get even worse, and that's corruption at its finest. So really important topic. I appreciate you coming and educating us all to those who learned more. Thank you. What about OJ? Last one. Do you think OJ is innocent or guilty? What about that one?
Completely innocent. I did a whole lockup. I did 4 videos about him, his son, the actual murderer who was involved with them but never charged. I was also went into his health situation, and I went into the fact that OJ is on actual camera in the airport when the alleged murders happened.
Really?
Yes.
Why didn't they use that in the trial? That's insane. That's true?
Yes.
I'd always heard a conspiracy theory about his son. His son who had aggression issues. Have you heard that? I did that video too. And so there was a whole theory that he was covering up for his son who did do it. Is that one that you think is real or no?
That doesn't explain 3 extra footprints. It doesn't explain who's the guy, who's the guy she was with.
Ron Goldman.
Ron Goldman. It doesn't explain him being a 4th degree black belt at age 30 versus the rheumatoid arthritis ridden OJ, who's what, 60?
Right.
Yeah. It doesn't explain any of that. Even if the son had aggression and took his knives, and his knives were nowhere to be found in the restaurant on the night in question or thereafter, it doesn't explain Who took out that guy? I do martial arts. I've done martial arts all my life. I don't care what you say about karate or whatever his particular style was. 4th degree black belt, you don't take out. You don't take out a 4th degree black belt by yourself. I don't care if you're a football player. I don't care if you're mad. I don't care if you're full of adrenaline. You don't take out a 4th degree. 4th degree, maybe a 1st degree. 4th degree, no, that's something different. That's a whole different beast. Oh, I did something.
That is an interesting fact. But someone says it wasn't a camera. It was a witness at the airport. It wasn't camera. It was an eyewitness. They're saying that saw him at the airport. So I checked it out. Maybe. Man, crazy. So who do you think the killer was then? You did a video on that? We can watch that on your channel. Everybody, you can go find the OJ video.
I went over a whole hour going over all of the evidence with diagrams and everything, but I could not determine the actual killer because the police didn't do enough investigation. Mark Furman was so set on OJ is a killer. Mark Furman, who's has Confederate flags all over his basement, is so set that OJ is a killer. Isn't that the same department that brought Michael Jackson up against charges? Well, these people need to move. They didn't do much of an investigation. I could not determine any, but other than the actual guy who's an actual criminal that they had hired while she was doing all of these drugs and stuff. So that's the only person that I could.
It's going to be interesting. Someday someone will be on their deathbed saying, I was the one who did it. Maybe it's someday someone's conscience will finally get to them that they acknowledge it. First of all, also I got to thank Jeff Starr, became a member. I appreciate you, Jeff.
I'd buy that for $1.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Helps this channel a bunch. And then we had one from Bunda. Can you ask Shakaama real quick why the Tupac and Biggie murders have not been solved? Do you have any insight on that one?
Somebody came out on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and said he killed Tupac.
Well, there you go. It's someone said on Instagram. It must be a thing.
I mean, why would you say that? Rappers do that all the time, right? And they get picked up and taken to jail. I don't know him because I'm not in the rap world.
Well, there you go.
But it was all over. It was plaster all over. Like, hey, this is trending.
There you go. I haven't followed that one enough. I don't know. Sorry, Bundo. We don't.
But I saw the documentary and I saw the conspiracy that the guy who went to the hospital with Tupac said that when he left, Tupac was alive and well, and he was not shot up, and he was not with the inches of his life left. So what happened is probably deeper than we actually know.
That I believe. Moody's chiming in because Moody's been correcting you. He wasn't OJ was, just for full. I don't know if this is true either, but Moody said he wasn't 60. OJ wasn't 60, and he was younger. 40. I actually don't know how old he was in '94 when that happened. Ron Goldman's sister did a podcast. There was another witness that saw OJ on Nicole Street running a red light. They didn't use her testimony because she talked to a newspaper and they discredited her. So I guess Moody's saying that he was. There is more information that OJ did it. Yeah, that's another controversial one. But yeah, the trial, that was a messed up trial. That's I think
4th degree black belt. That's all I can say.
Get it. We can all agree that trial was not a good trial, and that Martin Furman was not a good investigator. That's all I know for a fact. But yeah, there's a lot more to it. And he's right. It's got an interesting point there. I mean, I guess it depends how he was stabbed. We know he was stabbed. Was he stabbed multiple times? I don't remember. You'd think you could probably take down a 4th degree black belt if you're lucky with the right hit right away, right? That sort of would take him down, don't you think? If he's
there was 3 footprints there. They don't have that. There's people who say they eyewitnessed OJ at the place, but that was hours after everything had went down. And this is the whole conspiracy that they saw OJ there. And he was there to witness the scene of the crime, and then he went home, and then tried to cover for his son. And that was the whole idea of why they saw him at the scene of the crime. But they didn't go down that road. They didn't take the son. They took OJ.
Right. There's a lot to it, guys. Go do more homework. It's not as easy to clear up. But there you go. So much we could do. We'll have to do this again, have him back, do more cases like this, Hollywood cases. It's so much fun with you, Shakaama. Thank you so much for being here. Again, go support him over on YouTube. There you go. Advice your black rich internet dad would give you. There you go. If you want more of that, you can click on over there and subscribe and support him. In fact, I haven't done it yet. There we go. Hit the subscribe button to make sure you help him out. Such a pleasure meeting you, man. I appreciate the insight. Come on anytime. If you need anything, let me know. Always nice to have new guests, and I appreciated him coming on. I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks so much for watching here. Make sure you've already hit that subscribe button for me while you're watching right now. Can you double check? Because YouTube actually desubscribes you guys when we talk about shit like this. This one's definitely going to get pulled. So comment, leave a like, all that stuff. Support as you can. And tip your witchers when you can, because we can't do these stories without you, because you got to pay us, because YouTube's definitely demonetizing this stream. I can tell you fucking that. So the Linktree link and all the things down there to support, even if you're watching this later, are always there. Appreciate all your loyal support, everybody. You guys are the best. Shakaama, again, thank you for being here. Everybody stay tuned. We will see you later. Bye, everybody. Good night.